All right, all right. Welcome to the Versus platform. We have the brother Hassad and the brother Gdal. You see the topic, is Jesus prophesied in the Old Testament? That is what will be debated tonight. So I'm going to just quickly go over the rules. So in the beginning, both will get 2 minutes to briefly state who they are, their school of thought, what they're going to be demonstrating this evening. That will be the introduction. Then there will be a round one of 10 minutes. Each side will get 10 minutes in which they will get to present their information and solidify their position. 10 minutes. The timer, who's ever keeping time, you will unmute to just only say 2 minutes. I think that's Yoshiyahu. You will only unmute to say 2 minutes, and then you will only unmute to say time. Nobody can ask you to, for a time check or anything like that. You're only saying 2 minutes and time. Sometimes if there's a clarity issue, I might, or another moderator might say, make sure that you stop the time real quick. We might ask you to stop the time. Okay, we're going to ask you to do that from time to time if needed. So just be aware of that. Outside of that, you don't need to say anything but 2 minutes and time for those 10-minute rounds. All right, so then there will be a second round of 10 minutes, a second round of 10 minutes in which both individuals will get to rebuttal and or continue to make their point and put their foot in the ground on their position. All right, so that will be the second 2 minute, or Salakia, second 10-minute round. Then there will be a 20-minute hot seat, a 20-minute hot seat round in which one party will be asking the other side questions. All they can do is answer the questions. Okay, they can only answer the questions. Yes or no questions must be answered yes or no. And then you will get up to 2 minutes to expound. You will get up to 2 minutes per question to expound on your answer, if you so choose. You don't have to take the 2 minutes, but you do get up to 2 minutes as well. I hope that the brother Yawasap, are you able to make sure you keep in time of that 2 minutes specifically?
Sir.
All right. So we will be doing that. And then I believe that the timing goes 10 minutes left, Brother Yoshiyahu. You will be saying when there is 10 minutes left in that 20-minute round, and then you will be saying time. You will be saying time on the last question when it's, the time is up. So that's how we'll work that. 10 minutes and then time on that round. All right, so I want to make sure we understand that. After that, there will be a closing 2 minutes. There will be a closing 2 minutes for each side. And I think that we will then, chat about whether there will be an open build and or questions after that. So how the order is going to go, since Gdal issued the challenge, he will be going first. All right. He will be going first in the 10-minute rounds, but then he will be first to put Hassad on the hot seat. So that's how the order will go. Okay, so I don't think that I've missed any of the rules. Do both parties understand the rules? Gdal, Hassad, you guys understand the rules?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right, all praises. So, Yoshiyahu, we're going to start off with that 2 minutes. Just flash your mic when you got the 2 minutes set. Yoshiyahu, just flash your mic when you have 2 minutes set. Are you ready to time? All right. All right. Thank you very much. So, Brother Gdal, you got the floor.
All right. Well, what I'm going to be displaying today is that the writers of the New Testament, they take prophecies out of the Tanakh and they apply them to Jesus, in which, in the original context, they don't apply to Jesus. So I'm just going to go through a couple of these prophecies, And I'm going to show you that they have nothing to do with Jesus, and Jesus actually didn't fulfill them. So I'm going to show you some prophecies that were fulfilled by other people, and some prophecies that wasn't even fulfilled yet. So I'm just pretty much showing you how the writers of the New Testament just did a lot of making things up, and we're going to get down to the bottom of it. Simple and clear like that.
Okay, I believe that the brother Gdal yielded the rest of his time, so you can kind of reset the clock, Yoshiyahu, and then let me know when you've done that, and then the brother Hassad will be able to go.
I reset it.
All right, go ahead, Hassad.
All right, all praises. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. That's all praise to the Heavenly Father in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His real name is Yahweh Shai. This is the brother Hasad coming from the Sakari camp. What I'm going to be proving today is very simple. As the title says, I'm going to be proving that who the world calls Christ, some call him Yeshua, some call him Hamashiach, call him Yahweh Shai, is prophesied in the Old Testament. In the brother's initial statement, he made a very big flaw. I'm just going to say real quick. I made a big mistake. He said that he's going to be setting out to prove that prophecies in the Old Testament, the original context is not Christ. Never even objected to that. So if he's going to be beating up that straw man, he's going to have about an hour and a half of preaching to the wind. So I look forward to seeing how this debate goes. Shalom.
All right, so the brother Hassad has laid out his opening. So now set the timer to 10 minutes, Yoshiyahu, and then the clock will start. All good. When Gdal starts to speak, you will have your opening 10 minutes.
Indeed. So I'm going to start off first in the Christian's favorite chapter. They go to Deuteronomy 18, and they say that Christ is the prophet, Jesus is the prophet like unto Moses. And before I do this, I just want to make a quick statement. So it seems like the brother Hassad is actually going to agree with me all day that these chapters and verses that I'm going to is not about Jesus. So yeah, I want to point that out. But I'm gonna do it anyway, just for the silliness and the mistakes of other people that claim Christ is this person in Deuteronomy 18. Right, so when we go to Deuteronomy 18, it states, and the Christian's favorite verse is verse 15. And the Lord thy God will raise up a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brother, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken, according to all that thou desirest of the Lord thy God in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not again hear the voice of the Lord my God, neither let me see this great fire anymore, lest I die. So we see that the Most High told the people that he's gonna rise up a prophet from the midst of their brethren, like unto thee. Now the important question is why? Why is he raising up this prophet? And as we just read in verse 16, is because of what the children of Israel acquired of him in by Mount Horeb. Now that situation is in Exodus 20. And when we go to Exodus 20 and we read verse 19, it says, and they said unto Moses, speak thou with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak with us, lest we die. So we see the children of Israel did not want to speak to the Most High, so they told Moses to go speak to him. So when we get back to Deuteronomy 18, this is why the Most High is raising them this prophet. And as we know, the book of Deuteronomy is written in the 40th year of the Exodus. Let me go read this in real fast in Deuteronomy 1, verse 3. It says, and it came to pass in the 40th year, not the 40th year of Exodus, the 40th year of the wilderness, excuse me. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month of the first day, on the mount that Moses spoke unto the children of Israel, according unto all that the Lord have given him in commandment unto them. So we see that Moses has them in the 40th year of the wilderness, speaking to them. And he's telling them that the Most High is going to raise them up a prophet. And this is important because, like I just told you in Exodus 20, the children of Israel did not want to deal with the Most High. And we know that Moses, the great man, he's not going to make it into the land, right? Because he didn't sanctify the Most High in the sight of people when the Most High told him to speak into the rock. He struck the rock twice and he said, "We give you water." Right? So this is why Moses wasn't able to make it into the land. Matter of fact, let's go to Numbers 27 real fast and touch on a little bit of this. And Numbers 27 verse 12, it says, "And the Lord said unto Moses, Get thee up and dismount, Abram, and see the land which I give unto the children of Israel. And when thou seen it, thou shalt be gathered unto thy people as Aaron thy brother was gathered. For ye rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Zin, in strife of the congregation, to sanctify me at the water before their eyes. That is the water of Meribah, and Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. And Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, Let the Lord, the God of spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation." So we see here that Moses himself, after he knows he's not going to make it into the land because of what he did, he asked the Most High to raise them up a man. And why is this man being risen up? Look what it says. It says, which may go out before them, which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord be not as sheep which have no shepherd. So Moses knew he wasn't making it, but he's not a selfish man, so he asked the Most High to set up someone over the children so they won't go astray, so they won't, get into all the wickedness of that nation, of those nations. And look what the Most High told him. "And the Lord said unto Moses, Take thee Joshua, the son of Nun, a man whom is the Spirit, and lay upon him his hand." So we see the Most High right there pick Joshua to be that man that leads the children of Israel into the land of Canaan after Moses died. And one thing you should know about the book of Deuteronomy just means a second law or restated law, right? So Deuteronomy is just Exodus, Numbers, and Leviticus. Moses is retelling them the things they already was told in the other spots in the book. So he's just giving them pretty much a cram session before they go over the land in that 40th year in the wilderness. Right? So now let's go back to Deuteronomy 18, because people like to just jump down to verse 15, but let's read verse 9. It says, "When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or observer of times, or a chanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter of familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord thy God doeth drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God. For these nations which thou shalt possess hearken unto observers of time and diviners. But as for thee, the Lord thy God hath not suffered thee to do so." So we see the reason why this prophet is being risen is because the Most High didn't want the people going astray, getting into all these abominations when they get over into the land. This prophet, is being risen to lead them into the land of Canaan at this time period. This person is being risen to lead them into the land of Canaan at this time period because what they spoke about at Mount Horeb. The people didn't want to deal with the Most High face to face. They push Moses to do it. So now that Moses is dying, they need that person to deal with the Most High so that they won't have to. They need that person to lead them into the land of Canaan to be their leader so they won't go astray. Same thing that Moses asked them. So this is why this prophet is being risen. Nothing about thousands of years later. He's not someone to come thousands of years later. No, it's about at this time period, these people need a leader because Moses is dying. These people need a leader to be the mediator for them to the Most High because they didn't want to deal with the Most High. These people need a leader to lead them into their new land to take it over from the Canaanites. This is what this chapter is about. This chapter is not about Jesus. This chapter is about Joshua. And we know that because I just read it in Deuteronomy 27. that Moses asked the Most High to set them someone, and that person that was set over them, the Most High told him it was Joshua. Now let's go to the book of Joshua real fast.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Let's go to the book of Joshua real fast and look what it says in Joshua 1:1. It says, "Now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spoke unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses my servant is dead. Now therefore arise." This that prophet that's being risen. "Now therefore arise and and go over this Jordan, thou and all this people unto the land which I do give them, even the children of Israel." Let's jump down real fast to verse 16. Let's see who did the children of Israel hearken unto. "And they answered Joshua, saying, All that thou commandest us, we will do. Whatever so thou sendest us, we will go. According as we have hearkened unto Moses in all things, so will we hearken unto thee. Only the Lord thy God be with thee, as he was with Moses. Whosoever he be that doeth rebel against thy commandment, and will not hearken unto the words and all that thou commandest him, he shall be put to death. Only be strong of good courage." So Joshua, as we see in the book of Joshua, coming from the words of from the Israelites, they knew that Joshua was that one that was risen from the midst of them, the midst of that congregation that Moses was talking to in the 40th year in the wilderness. They knew that that was Joshua. They knew this had nothing to do with thousands of years later, because again, one, this person was risen because Moses was dying. He wasn't going into the land, and they needed a mediator to deal with the Most High for them. Two, they needed a leader to lead them into the land of Canaan. Jesus did not lead the children of Israel into the land of Canaan. Jesus did not, Jesus was not at the time of Moses to be that prophet that was risen for them at that time period. Jesus does not fit this.
That's
This is about
time.
Joshua.
Time.
All right, all right. That's the end of Gdal's first round. That's the end of Gdal's first round. Brother Yoshiyahu, if you could just speak up a little bit louder when you give that 2 minutes, and when you give that time, don't be afraid to cut off who's ever speaking so everybody can hear you clearly say 2 minutes and time. But you were definitely on point with that. So good first round by Gdal. We're going to bounce the ball to the brother Hassad. Hassad, boy, he's got a call.
Yo,
His time will start when he begins to speak. Yoshiyahu, you ready?
Also, I just wanted to add right quick. I know Gorilla's on the stage as well. He'll be holding the time on Hassad's time just to make sure everything is accurate as well.
I'm ready whenever. All right, I'll just start right now. So they say the best offense is a good defense. So I'll just destroy that first round attempt he just tried to make. So Deuteronomy chapter 18, and we'll start at verse 15. It says, "The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me, unto him ye shall hearken. According to all that thou desirest of the Lord thy God in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, Let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my God, neither let me see this great fire anymore, that I die not." Now, I would agree that this is not only the prophet Joshua, that this is Samuel, that this is a general statement for various prophets that have risen up from amongst the nation of Israel. However, when you read verse 18, "I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him." This prophet in verse 18 on down, we're going to keep reading in 19, is not Joshua. And I'm going to substantiate this. It says, "And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require of him." So now that begs the question, how can I make the statement that I'm going to prove this is not Joshua? We're going to stay in the same book of Deuteronomy, everybody. Deuteronomy 34:9. "And Joshua, the son of Nun," same Joshua the brother was referencing, "was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands upon him." And yes, Joshua picked up after Moses, but pay attention to this, everybody. So Joshua is Moses rather lays his hands on Joshua, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him and did as the Lord commanded Moses. But watch this. "And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face." Deuteronomy 18:18 says that there's going to be a prophet like unto Moses. That's who that prophet's going to be. But then even after Joshua is basically anointed by Moses, it still states that there was not a prophet since that time like unto Moses. If Joshua was the prophet that was like unto Moses, it wouldn't say after Joshua is anointed to be the next man to lead Israel, there hadn't risen a prophet like unto Moses afterwards. That does the opposite. That proves that it's not Joshua. So everybody go on your scorecard and write first round knockdown, because that's just what happened to the brother. Now, most of us in here are Israelites, and we identify with being Israelites when we go to scriptures like Deuteronomy chapter 28, and we ask people, who does this fit? Who does this sound like? Who fits this description? So as I read these verses right here, I want you guys to just think about in your mind as I paint this picture, who fits this description right here? This is Micah chapter 5, verse 1. Now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He hath laid siege against us. So the context is there's going to be a siege against the Israelites. And they shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheek. So let's just, again, I'm painting a picture here. There's going to, around the time of the siege, the judge of Israel is going to get smitten with a rod upon his cheek. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting. So around the time of the siege, the leader of Israel is going to get beaten, and he's from the tribe of Judah, born in Bethlehem Ephratah. Well, I'm just painting a picture here. I want y'all to walk with me. Who does this already sound like? Now let's get some more time period right here. Malachi chapter 3, verse 1. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. Now, when you read the very next chapter, Malachi chapter 4, verse 5, it lets you know that this messenger is Elijah. So the forerunner behind this is going to be Elijah the prophet. Malachi 3 and 1. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And the Lord, this isn't the all caps Lord, this is the lowercase Lord, the Adonai. Abraham was called Adonai. Adonai just means Lord or ruler, etc. And the Adonai, whom ye seek, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant. So again, now there's a guy who's going to have a forerunner of Elijah the prophet, who's going to be a messenger of a covenant, who's going to go into his temple. Now, guess what, everybody? There's only been two temples. The first one was destroyed by the Babylonians, and the second one was destroyed by the Romans. So that means this had to have already taken place. Even going back to Micah chapter 5, the siege that took place, what siege is that talking about? All right. So again, I'm painting a picture here. So we got a man who will be born in Bethlehem from the tribe of Judah, from the lineage of David, who would be the ruler of Israel, smitten with a rod across his cheek. All right. Who would have Elijah the prophet as his forerunner, who also, according to Isaiah chapter 53, verse 8, he was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the lands of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken, who would also be killed, not because of his own sins, but because of the sins of his people. Is this starting to sound familiar? Let's keep going. Psalm chapter 16, verse 10. I'm going to read this real quick. It says, for thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thy Holy One to see corruption. When you look at this word corruption, it means your body to decay. So not only according to Isaiah 53 and 8, would this man die, but he would die and his body would not be in the grave long enough for his body to decay. Does this sound familiar? Let's keep going. Zechariah chapter 12, verse 10. It says, and I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him. Now, I already know what the brother might be thinking. It doesn't say me in the Hebrew, and he's right. It doesn't say me in the Hebrew. That's why later it goes on to say, and they shall mourn for him as one mourns for his only son. So not only is this man going to die, and not because of his own sins, for the sins of his people, but he wouldn't be dead long enough for his body to decay. The way he would be getting killed is by getting pierced. So let me read one more too. Jeremiah 23, 5-6. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch. Remember, we read in Micah chapter 5, one that is to be ruler in Israel, born in Bethlehem Ephratah, same place as David. That's because he comes from the lineage and line of David. I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. So now let's recap on all this, everybody. And I want y'all to just think about this, and y'all let me know, who else is this talking about? There would be a man born in Bethlehem from the tribe of Judah in the town of Ephrata from the lineage of David around the time of the second temple's destruction, who would die by getting pierced, not because of his own sins, but because of his people's sins. But his body wouldn't be in the ground long enough for his body to decay, whose forerunner would be Elijah the prophet. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody knows, it's beaming in their head who this is talking about right now. It's clearly only who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Real name is Yahushua. So I'm going to go a little bit further into that in the second round. I would like to yield my time, and if my opponent had any wisdom, he would just yield the debate. Sean.
All right, all right, all right. So he yields the rest of his time. Good round by the brother Hassad as well. Okay, so now we'll get into the second 2 minute round. The second 2 minute round, or 10 minute round, Salakia, the second 10 minute round, in which the brother Gdal will either have an opportunity to rebuttal what Hassad said or plant his foot further in the ground on his position, or both. So the time will start when Gdal starts speaking.
All right, cool. So let's jump back to Deuteronomy 34 real fast before I attack everything else we just said. Let's read it. It says, Deuteronomy 34, verse 9, it says, And Joshua, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hand upon him, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses. What does the word since mean? There arose not a prophet since in Israel. Since when? All you gotta do is read the verse before. Since Joshua the son of Nun was full of spirit of wisdom. This is what this is talking about. So you went here and you cut yourself, you knocked yourself out, because this verse is literally saying there has not arose a prophet since Joshua in Israel like Moses. So you cut yourself there. And now you went to Micah 5. Let's go to Micah 5 because you made yourself look like you don't read the Bible. Micah 5, and let's go to verse 5. And this man, the same man that's from Bethlehem, Ephrathah, that's coming from that clan, the same man shall be peace when the Assyrian come into our land. So this same man you talking about, that you're saying is Jesus, this same chapter tells us that this man has to be the peace when the Assyrian come into the land. So this is literally talking about, let's go to 2 Chronicles 32 real fast. It says, And after these things, the establishment thereof, Sennacherib, the king of Assyria, came and entered Judah and encamped against the fenced cities and thought to win it over for himself. And when Hezekiah saw Sennacherib come, and that he was purposed to fight against Jerusalem, he took counsel with his princes and mighty men and stopped the waters of the fountain which were throughout the city, and they did help him. So this chapter you just went to is literally talking about the siege when the Assyrians came during the time of Hezekiah. That's what this is talking about. So let's just go read this again. This is what happens when you pick verses out the Bible trying to build a doctrine. You make yourself look foolish. Because the same chapter he went to let us know that this is talking about when the Assyrian came into the land. Now, unless you're going to tell me Jesus or Yahushua was king when the Assyrians besieged Judah, I know you ain't going to tell me that. I know y'all make up things so much. But look what this said. I'm going to read it again. But this man shall be the peace when the Assyrian shall come into our land, and when he shall tread in our palaces, then shall we raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men. And they shall waste the land of Assyria with the sword, and the land of Nimrod, and with the entrances thereof. And he shall deliver us from the Assyrian when he come into our land, when he dread into our borders. So this is literally talking about the Assyrians. Literally. You just make yourself look like you don't know the Bible, and which you don't. And then you went to Psalm 16. Let's go to Psalm 16. Psalm 16, verse 1. A miktam of David. So we see this is David talking about himself. Preserve me, O God, for in thee I do put my trust. O my soul, Thou hast said unto the Lord, thou art my Lord, my goodness. This is David literally talking about himself. Literally. So how can this be about Jesus? Then you went to Zachariah. I just want to cut all this. Y'all just be just craziness. Then you went to Zechariah 12. You went to Zechariah 12 and 10. And it says, I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication, and they shall look unto me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourning for the son. What is this chapter talking about, Hassad? This chapter is talking about a war at the end of days where someone is literally being killed. This person is being killed during this war. And look what it says in verse 11. In that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as for I don't even know how to pronounce this word right, Hadamari, however, in the valley of Megadon. And that's talking about when King Josiah was killed by the king of Egypt. How the whole nation mourned because he was killed. So in that same way, how King Josiah was killed and the whole nation mourned, in the future, someone's gonna die during this great war that's talking about in the book of Zechariah 12. How we know this is talking about a war? Look what it says. And look what it says right here. And that day, oh no, let's go up a little bit. And that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people, and all the burden themselves will be cut into pieces, and though all people of the earth be gathered together against it, in that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with the astonishment, and his rider with madness, and I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah, and I will smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be the strength in the Lord of hosts and their God. And in that day, I will make the governors of Judah like the health of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheath, and they shall devour all people round about on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. So again, this is talking about a great war at the end of days when all nations come against Jerusalem, and the Most High uses us to wipe them out. But in the midst of that war, someone's going to be killed. Literally, someone's going to be killed. He's going to get killed and die, and that's going to cause the nations to mourn. That's what this is talking about. Unless you're saying Jesus is going to come back and die during a war, how's that Jesus? This is ridiculous. Now, and then you went to Jeremiah 23. I think that was Jeremiah 23, 5 and 6. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord. I will raise up unto David a righteous branch. A king shall rise and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. How is this Jesus? Jesus came, and y'all say the Israelites went into captivity after that. The temple was destroyed, and y'all was scattered. The transatlantic slave trade happened. How the hell y'all dwell safely? How was that Jesus? Stop the foolishness, man. That is not about Jesus. That did not. Come on, I'm not even gonna get into that. But he just went, embarrassed himself. All these verses, I just cut them. That you should feel a little embarrassed. I think I got a little bit more time, so I'm gonna spend the rest of my time what I was gonna spend my second round on. So let's go to Isaiah 7 real fast. Matter of fact, I'm going to Matthew 1. Matthew 1. It says, now, I'm going to start at 22. It says, now all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord by the prophet, saying, behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they
2
shall call his
minutes.
name.
2 minutes.
And they should call his name Emmanuel, which is interpreted as God with us. Let's go to Isaiah 7. Because Matthew's saying Isaiah 7 and 14 is about Jesus. But let's touch on a few things in Isaiah 7 real fast. In Isaiah 8, it says, for the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, and it be not a people. So we see King Ahaz, God told his enemies will be destroyed. And it says within 65 years. That is 65 years. So this sign that was given in verse 14, it was actually a sign to the prophecy that these two kingdoms, which is Syria and the northern kingdom, would be destroyed within 65 years. And we also get in the same chapter, verse 20, in the same day shall the Lord shave with a razor that is hired, namely by them from beyond the river, the king of Assyria. So we even get told who is going to do it. So within 65 years, this these two kings that threatened King Ahaz would be destroyed. So if we get a time period and we got who is going to be done by, how Matthew saying 700 to 1,000 years later that this is about Jesus when Isaiah said it would happen within 65 years? That makes no sense. Matthew is a lie. No, I'm not. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be respectful. I don't know what Matthew was doing, but the prophet Isaiah said that baby had to be born within 65 years, and King Ahaz's enemy would be destroyed within 65 years. And let me hope I got a little bit of time. In chapter 8, we see the baby was born right here, chapter 8 and 8. And he shall pass through Judah, and he shall overflow and go over. He shall reach even to the neck, strengthen of his wings, and fill out the breadth of the land. O Emmanuel. So we see Emmanuel was born.
That's time. Time.
God.
All right, all right, all right. Another good round from Gdal. So now we're going to bounce the ball to Hassad for his second 2-minute or 10-minute round, in which he will be able to further concrete his position or rebuttal the brother Gdal. The time will start when he starts speaking.
Um, have y'all ever planned something so cold and everything that your opponent you thought he was going to say, he said? I got this brother down to a science. I literally knew he was going to say all of this, and it's so cold how he keeps boasting how he just destroyed me. I embarrassed myself. Do you guys want to see a dead body? Let's first start with what he said in Isaiah. So he went to Isaiah and he said, this is clearly talking about in Isaiah, son. He read chapter 8, and that's the original context. He put his foot in his mouth earlier when he said in Zechariah chapter 12, that's talking about, I think he said King Josiah, the one that got killed by the Egyptians. And then it said, but it's going to have an ultimate fulfillment later in future. So what he's letting you know right there is that he subscribes and he believes to something called dual fulfillment. So if he attempts to even say, no, I don't, he's a liar and a hypocrite because he just admitted it. So now let's deal with that Isaiah. So yes, Matthew does credit this with being applied to Christ. Why does he do that? Because let's just read Isaiah chapter 7, and let's get that, Isaiah chapter 7, and let's start at verse 9. Okay, I'm going to try to go through this as quick as I can. I need y'all to walk with me. So Isaiah chapter 7, verse 9. It says, I'm sorry, verse 8. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people. So what's going on here in the context is Hezekiah is tripping because Sennacherib and the Assyrians are coming to destroy them. And I'm going to go to verse 10. Moreover, the Lord spake again unto Ahaz, saying, or rather Ahaz. It says, ask thee a sign of the Lord thy God, ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord. So the Lord told Ahaz, just ask a sign from me. And Ahaz said, no, I don't want to ask a sign. I want to tempt you. Verse 13, it says, and he said, hear ye now, O house of David. Is it a small thing for you to weary men, but will you weary my God also? Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. Now watch this. Here's the point, everybody. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. So what it's letting you know is Ahaz didn't want to ask the Lord for a sign. But the Lord said, look, just ask a sign from me. And what is the sign? Before this child, I'm going to get it later. It says, I think it's in chapter 8, Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 18. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord hath given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth in Mount Zion. Right? And his name was called Emmanuel. So let me go back in Isaiah chapter 7, because the children are the sign of what? Let me go back and Isaiah chapter 7, and I'm going to read it one more time. It says, for before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, The land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. Before this child even has knowledge to know what's right and what's wrong, this child is going to be a sign that God is going to come and defend them. That's all that this means. The Lord wanted to give Ahaz a sign. If you were tripping about the Assyrians coming to destroy you, before this child has the ability to say yes or no to anything, to choose right and wrong, I'm going to protect you. This child is a sign. All Matthew is doing is taking that same premise, and the child's called Emmanuel, that this child is born. Because this child is born, God is with us. That's what Emmanuel means. That's why in Luke chapter 2, verse 34, it says, And Simeon blessed them and said unto Mary, his mother, Behold, this child is set for the fall and rising again of many in Israel, and for a sign which shall be spoken against. That's all this is. They're taking the same principle of what happened with Isaiah and his son. The fact that this child is born is a sign that Emmanuel, or that God is with us. At the same principle with Christ. That's all that's being done. Now, let me go back to Micah and utterly destroy this guy, because he has no idea what he's talking about whatsoever. It's not even close, everybody. So let me read a couple things in Micah chapter 5, because I knew he was going to say it's Hezekiah. So again, let's start at verse 2. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah. I dare this guy to go into the Bible and prove Hezekiah is born in Bethlehem out of Ephratah. I dare you to do it. You can't. Then it goes on to say, whose goings forth have been from old of everlasting. Brother, don't you realize Micah chapter 1, verse 1? Watch this. It says from old of everlasting, Micah chapter 1, verse 1, it says, the word of the Lord that came to Micah, the Morshite, in the days of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. How the hell is Hezekiah from of old, from ancient time, if Micah is living around the same time as Hezekiah? What are you talking about, man? Let's go back to Micah chapter 5 now, because look what it also says. Yeah, and show me where Hezekiah wasted Babylon too. I'm interested to see that. Micah chapter 5, verse 11 too. Look what it says. And I will cut off thy cities, I will cut off the cities of thy land, and throw down all thy strongholds, and I will cut off witchcrafts out of thy hands, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. I know the brother's thinking he might try to go to 2 Kings chapter 18, verse 4, when Hezekiah gets rid of the Ashtoreth poles. Here's the problem. Afterwards, we fall right back into idolatry. According to Micah chapter 5, when this takes place, verse 13, thy graven images also I will cut off, and thy standing images out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thy hands. Did we still practice idolatry after Hezekiah? If the answer is yes, then this can't be Hezekiah. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. So he's been debunked there. Now let me go to another thing he talked about in the book of Psalm. He said it's a Psalm of David. And I agree, it is a Psalm of David. Let me read this real quick. Okay, perfect. This is 2 Samuel. Here we go. 2 Samuel 2 and 11. And the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. So David was a king in Judah. That's what the Bible just said. Now, why is that relevant? Why would I even go there? Because of this right here. Jeremiah 8 and 1. Remember, everybody, David was a king of Judah. Jeremiah 8 and 1. At that time, saith the Lord, they shall bring out the bones of the kings of Judah, that would include David, and the bones of his princes, and the bones of the priests, and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem out of their graves, and they shall spread them before the sun. So what happened was our enemies came in and desecrated our graves, specifically of our kings. That would include David. That means David's body turned into a skeleton. But according to Psalm 16, verse 10, whoever this is fulfilled in, it said his body would not see corruption. When you look at corruption, let's just pull it up real quick. Let's take a look at the lexicon. Pull it up real quick. Give me a second, everybody. Okay. Boom. Right? When you look at that word corruption, it literally means, you go to the Thayer's lexicon. Watch this, everybody. And this is why I said, speaking because we're talking about a dead body right now. And this brother is about to be a dead body. Watch this. So this is Psalm chapter 16, verse 10. And this is the word there for corruption. And it says, I'm reading it, the destruction which is affected by the decay of the body after death. If King David's, we can see in the Bible, the
2
kings of Judah's
minutes. 2
bones were spread
minutes.
all over the place, that can't be talking about David, because according to this, whoever this is talking about, his body wouldn't decay, but David's body turned into a skeleton. And again, I want to really emphasize This brother put his foot in his mouth speaking about dual fulfillment because he just admitted that Zechariah 12 and 10 had a double application. So don't, throughout the rest of this debate, don't let him try to get away with that. You still had 2 minutes left. Okay. Now, what else did he say? I'm trying to remember what he said. Okay. So he spoke about, I think, when he went to Zechariah 12. Perfect. Yeah, yeah. Zechariah 12. And again, he cut himself. When it says in Zechariah chapter 12, verse, let me pull it up right quick. Zechariah 12 says, Jerusalem will be made a burdensome stone to the inhabitants of the earth. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces. Meaning anybody, all the nations of the earth are going to come to war with us in that day. But everybody who tries to fight against us is going to be destroyed. But he's saying in verse 10, someone's going to die. No, it doesn't say that. It says the exact opposite. Anybody who tries to mess with us is going to be killed. So why does it say in verse 10, and they shall look upon him whom they have pierced? It's very simple. Because Christ was pierced, and he showed himself, for example, in John chapter 20, like 22 on down, he showed his wounds to Thomas. He's going to do the same exact thing in that day. That's all that means. Is that my time? No? Okay, let me finish real quick. Because it says he will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone. Who is that chief cornerstone in Psalm chapter 118, verse 22? All of Israel is going to be like a cornerstone or a stone, but Christ is that chief cornerstone who's going to be doing destruction, going back to Micah chapter 5. Very simple. Why does it say Assyrian? Last two verses. This is Isaiah chapter 10, and I'm going to start at Isaiah 10. And where is it? Okay, Isaiah chapter 10, verse 5. Within the context of Isaiah, the Assyrians are coming against us. That's why Isaiah 10 and 5 says, O Assyrian, the rod of my anger. So within that,
Time. Time.
all right.
All right, time. Another good round. We've been having some great rounds by the brothers Gdal and Hassad. So now we're going to move to the 20-minute hot seat. The 20-minute hot seat. The brother Gdal will put Hassad on the hot seat first. Again, I'm going to go over the rules just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Gdal will be questioning Hassad for 20 straight minutes. Yoshiyahu will unmic to say when there is 10 minutes left in the round, and he will also unmute to say time. The brother Yawasop is going to be keeping track of the 2 minutes in which Hassad will have to answer the question, should he so choose to do. Again, he doesn't have to take the full 2 minutes, but with every question, there is an allotted 2-minute response. So that's how the 20-minute hot seat will work. The time will start when Gdal asks his first question.
Quick question. Mahalab, did you give him clarity on how the answering will have to be done?
Oh, Con, let me go ahead and do that. If it's a yes or no question, the question must be answered yes or no first, and then you would be allotted that time to respond. You cannot answer the question with a question. There is to be no answering questions with a question. The moderators will make sure that that doesn't happen. This is going to be where the mods kind of come into play. Except for,
Right.
right? Except for if there needs to be clarity on the question. And if somebody didn't understand your question, in which we will stop the time and allow the individual to ask the question again without the time being started. That will be the only time you can answer the question with a question to get clarity on it. So the mods will make sure that all those rules are being followed. You might hear us interject. Whenever we interject Yoshiyahu for whatever reason, just stop the time automatically. Just automatically stop the time so we can get everything straight and continue with the dialogue. All right.
1 second. So the brother who's applying the questionnaire, just make sure you try to phrase it as clear as possible so we won't have many stops or interruptions or technical issues. As well as you want to, when you're answering the questions with an answer, not a question, make sure it's not a rhetorical question either. Try not to throw that back out there because, we'll be getting in there for no reason. So try to watch the rhetorical questions. And when you have the questions that's based on a yes or no, you must answer yes or no, but you will have the space to expound for a maximum of 2 minutes if you would like. But you don't have to. You can just keep it clean, yes or no, and but you will have the space to expound if you would like.
All right, so before I ask my first question, I just want to say I hope everybody heard the brother. He misquoted me. He lied on me. I did not say Zechariah 12:10 had anything to do with due fulfillment. What I said was that person that dies during that battle in Zechariah 12, they compare it to how the people mourned in the valley of Megiddo, however you say that word, because that's where King Josiah died at in 2 Chronicles 35. If you just know the Bible, you know that's what they're comparing that to. And it says, nevertheless, Josiah would not turn his face from him, but disguised himself, and he might fight with him. And he hearkened not to the words of Necho from the mouth of God, and came to fight in the valley of Megiddo. Right? So this is where Josiah came to fight at. Verse 23, and the archer shot at King Josiah, and the king said to his servants, have me away, for I am sore wounded. And his servants therefore took him out of that chariot and put him in a second chariot that he had, and they brought him to Jerusalem, and he died and was buried in one of the sepulchres of his fathers. And all Judah and Jerusalem mourned for Josiah. So what Zechariah 12:10 is telling us that the same way they mourned for Josiah in that valley, that's how that person that comes in that future that dies in that battle, that's how the whole nation is mourning for him. I didn't say anything about dual fulfillment. But let's get to this question. So just for clarity, Hassad, do you agree with me that Deuteronomy 18 has been fulfilled already?
It's a whole chapter. Which part?
About the prophet that was risen, because you say you believe in dual prophecy.
Well,
So I'm
there's
trying
two
to.
of them. So which verse specifically?
Okay, let me grab it. Deuteronomy 18 and 15. The prophet that was risen like Moses.
That prophet in Deuteronomy chapter 18 is just in reference to any of the prophets that the Heavenly Father raises up amongst the nation of Israel. For example, Samuel, David, etc.
So is that a yes or no that you believe it was fulfilled?
I mean, I just answered that, didn't I?
Does he know the rules that he has to answer yes or no
Yeah,
then?
yeah, you have to say yes or no. So once you say
Yes,
yes
but
or no,
that particular verse 15 was fulfilled several times.
Okay, so let's go here real fast. Deuteronomy 18. And when it says right here, when thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, um, does the prophet being risen has anything to do with them going into the land?
You said what verse was that again, brother?
Deuteronomy 18 and 9. When thou come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abomination of those nations. Does the prophet that's being risen has anything to do with the going forth into the land?
Does the prophet have anything to do with the going forth in the land? The prophet is the one that gets raised up to lead Israel in the land and then going into the land, in the land in perpetuity. Again, it's not just in reference to Samuel, it's in reference to Isaiah, Ezekiel, etc.
Okay, so can you show me book, chapter, verse of Yahweh or Jesus
Mm-hmm.
leading the children of Israel into the land of Canaan?
Sure. This is Jeremiah chapter 23. And matter of fact, yeah, I'm going to get two scriptures. I have 2 minutes to answer this, so I'll get Jeremiah 23. And this is why it's important in verse 18. It said, a prophet like unto Moses. What did Moses do? Moses led the nation of Israel out of the land of their captivity, then into the promised land. That is why Christ is the prophet that's like unto Moses. He's going to deliver us from the land of our captivity into the promised land. 2 scriptures real quick. Jeremiah 23 and 5. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days, Judah shall be saved, the same way Moses saved Israel back in ancient Egypt. And Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness. And then it further elaborates, therefore, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that they shall no more say the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country. So what this is letting us know is there will be a Davidic king who would lead the Israelites out of the land of their captivity back into their homeland. Ezekiel 37 speaks of this as well. And let me get that real quick. Ezekiel chapter 37, and for time's sake, I'll just get to the point. Verse 21, it says, "And say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own lands. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all." Who is this? Verse 24, "And David my servant," or the Davidic Messiah, "shall be king over them." So, right there.
As y'all can see, Hassad is a little shaky. Hassad, I asked you, book, chapter, verse of Jesus leading the children of Israel into the land of Canaan. Because to fulfill something, you have to complete it. That's what fulfill means. I didn't ask you to show me a verse you believe Jesus is going to do in the future. So if you're going to say he didn't fulfill it, cool. We can go on to the next question.
Well, it's a nonsensical question.
You can't interrupt me, Hassad. You have to have
Go ahead.
you have to have some decorum, brother.
Go ahead, brother.
You can't interrupt me.
Yes, sir.
Can you show me book, chapter, verse of Jesus fulfilling what's talked about in Deuteronomy 18? The prophet being risen to lead the children into the land of Canaan like Joshua did. Can you show me that? Book, chapter, verse.
Yes, proleptically, I just did. The verses again are Jeremiah 23, 5 and 6, and Ezekiel 37, 21 on down.
Hassad didn't show me Jesus fulfilling it, so I'll just go to my next question. The brother is having issues, I guess. But we can go back to Micah 5. Micah 5. Question. Do you believe Micah 5 is dual fulfillment or strictly about Jesus?
Micah chapter 5, I don't see any dual fulfillment in here.
Okay, great. So can you show me book, chapter, verse, Jesus fulfilling Micah 5, chapter 5, verse 5? "And this man shall be peace when the Assyrian come into our land, when he shall tread in our palaces, then shall we raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men." Can you show me Jesus being the peace when the Assyrians besiege the land?
Yes, let me show you right now. So what's important in understanding this prophecy is the same prophecy that we see in Revelation 20 and Ezekiel 38, and it speaks about Gog and Magog and their allies coming into our lands, which, matter of fact, I think for context would definitely to bring that out. So let me get Ezekiel 38, and let's start at verse, let's see. Okay, Ezekiel 38, and let's start at verse 4. It says, "And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth," this is Gog and Magog and its allies, "and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords." Now, why do they have swords? And then it lists their allies afterwards. It says in verse 8, watch this. "After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have always been waste, but is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm." You read this scripture again in Revelation. We're going to read it here in 2nd Ezra here in a second. Some prophets say like a storm. Isaiah 59 says when the enemy comes in like a flood. It's just various ways to describe a gang of people coming in to attack the nation of Israel. So the question now begs, he asked me, can I show where Christ is doing this? And, well, why does it say the Assyrian? Well, it's very simple, and let me pull up a scripture to help explain this before I get the account in the book of 2nd Ezra. So we have to understand the historical context of Micah chapter 5. As I demonstrated earlier in the book of Isaiah, who was also prophesying during the time of Hezekiah, the same way we liken Deuteronomy 28:6, yet Egypt unto bondage, because the Assyrians were coming up against us, we liken them unto the oppressor, or a sword. Like it says in Isaiah 10 and 5, I think I read it earlier. The Assyrian is the rod of his indignation. So why do I bring this up? This is Isaiah 33 and 18. I'm going to read it in the King James. It says, "Thy heart shall meditate terror." Where's the scribe? Oh, all right.
So,
Would you like me to continue?
Nah, you doing horrible. But the brother, I asked the brother to show me Jesus, being the peace when the Assyrians should come into the land. The brother acted like the
10
Assyrians.
minutes. 10
The
minutes.
the brother acted like the Assyrians never besieged the land, as this like this never happened. This happened. What are you talking about? And then you went to Ezekiel 38 about Gog and Magog and talking about the Assyrians. All you gotta do is read verses 3 through 5. The people that's coming with Gog and Magog is verse 5: Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, and all of them with shield. Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Togomer. The Assyrians are not with Gog and Magog. What are you talking about? But all right, whatever. Let me get to my next question. This brother's doing horrible. But my next question, since you, matter of fact, let's go back to Isaiah 7 because I want to touch on that. Isaiah 7. Are you saying Isaiah 7 is dual prophecy? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, great. Can you show me in the time of Jesus in verse 16? It says, "For before the child should know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings." So you have two kings that's being forsaken. And you have in verse 1, it says the king of Judah. It said Uzziah, the king of Judah, that Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, the king of Israel. Can you show me the king of Israel and the king of Syria being destroyed in the time of Jesus, if this is dual fulfillment?
Well, I think you have a misunderstanding of dual fulfillment. Dual fulfillment doesn't mean every attribute of this entire chapter is fulfilled in twice. It just means certain principles or context of it are applied or fulfilled with another person. Just like, and for the record, I didn't lie on him. He verbatim said in Zechariah chapter 12, this is talking about Josiah being killed in the valley of Megiddo. So like how you said Josiah being killed in the valley of Megiddo was what Zechariah 12 and 10 was talking about, but not every aspect of it. The same way with Isaiah chapter 7, certain principles of it are applied, but not every aspect of it. So it's a nonsensical question.
Okay, let me touch because you keep lying on me and putting words in my mouth. Zechariah chapter 12, verse 11. And that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem as the mourning of Hadam, however you say that word, in the valley of Megadon. This is comparing the mourning of the death of King Josiah to the death of this person in Zechariah 12. I did not say Zechariah 12 was about King Josiah.
Yes, you did.
Need to learn how to listen. But this is horrible. I thought this was gonna be way better than this. But my next question is
You still have time to quit.
my next oh man, I thought this was gonna, my next question is, all right, I got Hosea 11 and 1. It says, when Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. Is this a prophecy? Yes or no?
No, it's history.
Okay. So when we go to the book of Matthew, chapter 2, and it says, I'm going to start at verse 14. And when he arose and he took the young child he took the young child and his mother by the night and departed into Egypt and was there unto the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. If you agree that that wasn't a prophecy, because it's not a prophecy, it's just history, why is Matthew saying Jesus fulfilled that?
Okay, fair question. So again, when you take a look at the Greek word fulfill, let me take a look at it. Matter of fact, okay, so let me take a look at the Greek word fulfill in Matthew chapter 5. Okay, let me take a look. Okay, yeah. So one of the definitions that it gives is it's to render, or accomplish, or to preach, to supply, to furnish. Influence. All it is a principle again being taken. Like, even this is very simple. He said in Zechariah 12, this is the same thing. He tried to say I lied on him, but I didn't. But again, Hosea 11:1, the reason why Matthew is doing that, he's just taking a principle of what's going on right here. Let's read Hosea 11:1 and just make this very simple. When Israel was a son, when Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. Here's why Matthew's doing that, because Christ is the son of God, just like Israel's the son of God, just like we are the sons of God. And he loved them, just like he loves Israel. And he went into Egypt and came back. He's doing is taking the same principle of what happened with Israel in Hosea chapter 11, verse 1, in reference to what we went through in Egypt, and using that same principle to talk about the Messiah. That's all he's doing. It's very simple.
You purposely left out definitions in this word here for fulfilled. It says to make full, to fill up, to fill to the full, to cause to be abound, to furnish, to render full, to complete. That's what this means. So this person is saying Jesus fulfilled that, complete that, filled it up. That's what he's saying. And you know and I know is not a prophecy. Just like you know and I know, all the stuff they're doing in this New Testament, and when we go back to read it, Deuteronomy 18, all you want to say this do fulfillment, you know Jesus didn't fulfill none of it. As we just went through this, and I showed and on my showcase, and you didn't know what you were talking about. So I'm just gonna ask one more question. Can you pull me two verses or two prophecies that Jesus fulfilled that's not due prophecy, or that's not trying to somehow low key make a point, but it's not really about him, but it is about him? Show me two prophecies that Jesus completed, fulfilled, please.
Isaiah 53 and Psalm 16.
You said Isaiah 53 and Psalm 16?
Yeah. That's your last
Which prophecy in Psalm 16 is Jesus fulfilled? Can you show me the prophecy?
Yeah, verse 10.
Verse 10, and it says, "For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither suffer thou Holy One to see the pit." You're saying that is what Jesus fulfilled.
Yes.
And you're saying King David, you know this is King David's words, correct?
Yes, I do.
So when King David is saying me and my, you're saying he's prophesying?
Yes.
King David is prophesying here.
You said what? You broke up.
What gives you the idea when King David is talking about himself that he's prophesying here?
Because his body saw corruption. His body decayed. That's how, Gdal.
Oh yeah, I forgot to hit that word. And you went to this word, you went to this definition for corruption. But if you actually go to the word in Hebrew, the word is shakat, shakath, and it means pit or grave. The word corruption is not there, brother. That's your KJV misleading you. The word corruption is not there. The word is shin, chet, tau, shakat, and that means pit or grave. Does not mean corruption. So again, how is this Jesus if King David is speaking about himself?
Okay. Well, let me answer it again. Let me pull up the Hebrew word, shahat, I believe is the word, and show you a big mistake that you just made, brother. So let's get the Hebrew word right there in Psalm 16 and 10. And let me find this real quick. Okay, Psalm 16 and 10. And let's take a look at this word. All right. Sahat. Now, let me show y'all something. He made a big mistake. Again, in the beginning of my second round, I said I couldn't believe that this went exactly how I thought it was going to go. So let me find this real quick. Okay. So when you take a look at the word shahat, it can mean pit, or it can mean hell, or it can mean grave. Now, he said that's your KJV Christian Bible that's trying to do that. Here's a problem with that. In the Greek Septuagint rendition of Psalm 16 and 10, it says the exact same thing as the King James Version. It says in the Greek Septuagint, "Thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thy Holy One to see corruption." That's what it says in the Greek Septuagint 300 years before there's anything such as even heard of as a Christian. Now, when you look at that word shahat, right, or it says again, it means to the decaying of a body, the decaying of a body when it's in the tomb or when it's in the grave. So how am I likening that to David? Because his body, as I just proved earlier in Jeremiah 8:1, his skeleton
Time.
were all over the place. So that's how. Very simple.
All right, all right. A good round. And now we're going to go to the hot seat from Hassad's angle. All right. So Hassad will be putting Gdal on the hot seat for 20 minutes straight. Same rules apply. The time will start when Hassad asks his first question.
Okay, Gdal, who is Isaiah 53 talking about?
Isaiah 53 is talking about the suffering servant.
Okay,
And
is the nation of
we
Israel?
can,
Yes.
what are you doing? I get 22 minutes to answer the question, brother.
Yeah, I wasn't done though. I took
You
a
asked
pause.
the question.
Stop the time. Stop the time. Stop the time. So, Hassad, he was
Yeah.
correct. When you ask a question, make sure if you're not completing with your question, just ask it in full, because when you ask a question and you come to a pause and he starts talking, then he does have that 2 minutes. So if you weren't done with your question, just make sure that you don't come to a pause and you ask your complete question.
Okay. So let me ask you one more time. Gdal, is
The
Isaiah
time
53
is stopped.
talking
What we're going to
about?
allow is the time to be stopped. Hassad asks
Yeah.
your full question, and then Gadar will have 2 minutes to respond.
Okay, I got my. It's time starts now.
No, the time will start when you ask your question in
Okay, got
full.
you, brother. Okay, so Gdal, in Isaiah 53, is the suffering servant the nation of Israel? Yes or no?
Yes, the righteous elect of Israel.
Okay. Has the nation of Israel done violence? Yes or no?
Yes, that's why the nation of Israel has been punished. But you have the righteous remnant, you have the righteous people of Israel, and that's the servant. And I can show that. Let's go there real fast. We're going to go to Isaiah 42, and I'm going to start it from verse 1. It says, Behold my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry, nor lift up his voice, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto the truth, and he shall not fail nor be discouraged, till he has set judgment in the earth, and the owls await for my law. Now, when you jump down to verse 19, it says, Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I have sent? Who is blind as he is perfect, and blind as the Lord's servant? Verse 22, But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are all hid in prison houses. They are all for a prey, and none delivereth for a spoil, and none saith, Restore. So we have this servant who is identified as the people of Israel, and we find that in all the chapters of Isaiah in the servant songs. You get that in Isaiah 44 as well. Yet hear now, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, who I have chosen. Right? So we see this over and over, that Israel and the elect of Israel is the servant of the Most High.
Okay, so you're saying in Isaiah 42 and 22 that when it says, My people are robbed and spoiled, they're all of them hid in prison houses, that's the same suffering servant that's in Isaiah 53, correct? Just want to make sure I understand you.
No, not the second servant in Isaiah 42. You have the first servant in the beginning that's sent to the people that's in the prison houses, and then you have the second servant are the ones in the prison houses. Now, if you go to Isaiah 49, you see who's the one. Let's pull this. I think it's 49. Yep, Isaiah 49 and 5. It says, and now saith the Lord that formed me from the womb to be his servant. And we know who's speaking here. This is Isaiah speaking, right? I can start back at verse 3. And he said unto me, Thou art my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. And now saith the Lord that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him. And thou, Israel, be not gathered. And yet, get some water. And yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of the Lord, and my God shall be my strength. And he said, "It is a light thing that thou shalt be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob." So you see that this specific servant right here is this is Isaiah telling you that he was the one sent to the Jacob and Israel. Just like in chapter 44, we see this first servant, which is the elect, and Isaiah is one of those elect that they were sent as prophets to the people to gather them out of those places. So you see there are those exactly two servants in that chapter.
Okay, so when you read Isaiah 45:4, for Jacob my servant's sake, who is that right there? Would you agree that that's the whole nation of Israel? Jacob my servant's sake?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it says, and Israel, mine elect. So your attempt to try to juxtapose the elect of the nation of Israel from the rest of Israel is mute. So your whole premise in Isaiah 53 of it talking about, well, not the whole nation of Israel, but the elect or the righteous within Israel, it's just defeated itself. But I can see where this is going. We can revisit that. You believe in Micah chapter 5 and verse 2 that is Hezekiah. Can you substantiate anywhere in the Bible or history that Hezekiah was born out of Bethlehem Ephratah? And can you explain what it means that his goings forth have been from old of everlasting?
Yep, no problem, right? So let me pull this up for you and grab this verse for you. Grab it. This is 1 Samuel 17, I think it is. Let me make sure. 1 Samuel 17. Is it 1 Samuel 17? Oh, yep. Now David was the son of that Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah. So, and we know that when you have that "ite" at the end of a word, you know that's a people. So we see these people that was in the land of Ephratah. They were a people, and Jesse was one of them. So Jesse was one of them. David was one of them, and you know the lineage of the kings came from that people, right? So Micah 5 is not telling you that this person had to be born in that land. It's telling you that that person had to come from that specific clan, right? Because it says, "But thou, Bethlehem Ephrathah, thou be little amongst the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall come forth unto me to be a ruler in Israel." So it's talking about a person that comes out that clan that's little amongst the thousands of the Judites. And we see Jesse, the father of David, was the Ephrathite. That makes David a Ephrathite. I'm going to mess up that word. You know, all the way to Solomon, all the way to Hezekiah, right? So we see that Hezekiah was from that tribe because he came from Jesse. And when it talks about from of old to everlasting, it's just talking about the person that bloodline goes back all the way to Adam. And we see Hezekiah has that bloodline. He goes back to Jesse, the Ephrathite from that clan. And he goes all the way back to Seth, all the way back such and such. So that's what that's speaking about there, brother.
So you're saying chapter 5, when it says, whose goings forth have been of old, of everlasting, that means going back to Adam?
Correct.
Okay, what would do all people on the earth today go back to Adam? Yes or no?
Do all people on the earth go back to Adam? Yes.
Okay, so what the hell would be the significance of even mentioning that this person comes from Adam if all people go back to Adam?
That's why they put in there that clan of the Ephratah.
I'm not asking you about that. I'm asking you about goings forth have been of old of everlasting.
Are you gonna let me answer your question, or are you gonna keep
Yeah, I'm gonna
interrupting?
know what question you're answering though.
Y'all letting him break the rules? Like this is what we doing up here?
How am I breaking the rules?
Stop the time.
Because when you ask a question, I'm supposed to be able to speak. I didn't do that to you.
But you're not answering the question.
Stop the time. All right,
I know you frustrated, bro, but relax.
Stop the time.
Why would I be
Wait, I'm
Hold
embarrassed.
on,
Both of y'all
everybody
mute
go
up.
on mute. Go
Both of y'all
on
mute
mute.
up.
Go on mute. Go on mute. Go on mute.
All right. So again, let's go one question at a time. All right. One question at a time. And then the brother Gdal gets 2 minutes to answer the question unless he stops his answer, right? Because sometimes it is a little bit shaky. And I'm going to say it again from the opposite end. Gdal, when you stop responding, right, when you come to that pause, Hassad can ask another question.
I didn't stop, Halab. He cut me off.
He's not saying that.
Listen, I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it so it can be said.
That's all. Lot.
Yeah, I'm just saying it so it can be said. I didn't say who did what. I didn't say, who didn't do what. That's not my job. It's just to bring clarity. All right, because it was a little brush up. So Hassad, just ask one clean question at a time. Hassad, Salakia Gdal, you give a clean answer. When you pause, right, when you stop, then Hassad can ask another question. That's how it's going to work. So Hassad, you can re-ask your question, and then we can move forward.
Okay, I'll ask this, and I gotta get back to my next question. So, when you read Micah chapter 5, and it says, "This man from Bethlehem Ephratah is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from of everlasting." The brothers attempting to make the statement that it's simply in reference to going back to Adam, but everybody goes back to Adam, so there's no point even making that statement. So again, I'm going to ask you, why would the author say, "Whose goings forth have been of old, Kodam"? Yawam, everlasting. Why is he saying that?
Because he's just letting you know this king, this person is going to have that bloodline that goes all the way back. And we know this because all you have to do is read this chapter. So all you have to do, you don't have to try to break down no verses. All you have to do is read this chapter, in which our brothers don't do. You stop right here. I just pointed out to you that the Ephrathite is a clan that takes him back to Jesse. The going forth is of old. It's just telling he this guy got that bloodline that goes all the way back to our ancient ancestors. That's what this is talking about. Then when we continue to read this, all you have to do is read it. Is only one king in Israel, one king, not Israel, in Judah, that was the peace when the Assyrians came into the land. It's only one, and that was Hezekiah. Hezekiah is that Ephrathite. I can never get that word right because he's from Jesse. He has that bloodline that goes all the way back to the ancient relatives. He's that king that was the ruler in Israel. This is what this is talking about. Okay. You can have the mic.
Okay, so in Psalm 16 and 10, you asserted that because I used a translation that said corruption, that's your new Christian Bible. So can you read Job 17 and 14 and tell me what the Hebrew word for corruption is right there?
Job 17 and 14?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me get there.
And just real quick, too, I'm not interrupting you. What version of the Bible do you read? Do you read JPS?
I'm on my Bible app right now. I'm not sure what version this is. I'm on the Hebrew Bible app. You said Job 17 and 4?
17 and 14, and tell me what the
17 and 14.
And the Hebrew word is for corruption.
It says
10 minutes.
If I have said to corruption, thou art my father, to the worm, thou art my mother and my sister. And the Hebrew word for there is, the way it's translated is la shachath. La shachath. That's that word there.
Okay, so he just proved that the word shahat can mean corruption. Even in the Hebrew Bible that he's reading, it's rendered as corruption in Job 17 and 14. So going back to Psalm chapter 16, verse 10, when King David uses that same word for corruption, sahat, in Psalm 16 and 10, "For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thy Holy One to see sahat," or corruption. Can you explain how this King David can say this when his body, his skeletal remains were spread across the whole planet Earth? And sahat means corruption.
And the way a word is translated does not give it the meaning. So you see words are translated certain ways all through the text, but when you go to that word, you get the meaning of it. In Psalm 16 and 10, they're not, at least in my translation, it doesn't have corruption there. So, and when we read Psalm 16 and 10, Psalm 16, you see King David is giving praise to the Most High for keeping him safe and keeping him happy, right? So I'm just going to read a couple verses. It says in the make sure I'm in the right place. Yep. It says, let me start at verse 5. It says, "O Lord, my portion of my inheritance and of my cup, thou maintainest my lot. Thou maintainest my lot. The lines are fallen unto me in pleasant places. Yea, I have a goodly heritage. I will bless the Lord who have given me counsel. Yea, in the night seasons my reins instruct me. I have set the Lord always before me. Surely he is at my right hand. I shall not be moved. Therefore my heart is glad, my glory rejoices, my flesh also dwelleth in safety. So we see King David is literally just giving the Most High praise for keeping him safely. And remember, this is a Psalms, so this is a metaphoric language. Is a song. Like Hassad should know that he'll want to be rapper, right? So it says, "For thou wilt not abandon my soul to the netherworld, neither wilt thou suffer thy goodly one to see the pit. Thou makest me know the path of life." So this is David at the time giving praise to the Most High for keeping him safe, stand by his right hand. This is not talking about Christ. But, these brothers take the Bible and do what they want with it. And this is why, they in the false doctrine.
Wow, he didn't answer the question at all. That's fine. I trust the audience that they can see. So let's go back to Micah chapter 5. Yes or no, do you believe all of Micah chapter 5 was fulfilled in heaven?
Yes.
Okay, he says yes. Okay, it's about to get spooky. Micah chapter 5, and let's start at verse 11. It says, "I will cut off witchcrafts out of thy hands, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. And I will cut off thy graven images and thy pillars out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thy hands." Yes or no, Gdal? After Hezekiah, did our ancestors commit idolatry?
Yes, and the problem you're having with is you're reading this verse and you're taking it as if the Most High is telling you, no, after this, no more forever, never again. That's not what that text says. It's just telling you when this person come, and throughout the days of Hezekiah, they did not do that. Hezekiah stopped all that. Everything in this chapter he did. He brought the remnant of his brothers back to Israel to keep the Passover. He cut down all this stuff, and in the time of Hezekiah, they didn't do that stuff. That's all this verse is saying. But you're putting your bad understanding on it, your ridiculousness on it, and try to make the text say something it doesn't say. And that's the issue you're having, because you still can't explain without the ridiculous response you gave how this is Jesus when it's literally talking about the Assyrians. So again, yes, this was fulfilled. All you got to do is read like Isaiah 36, 2 Chronicles 32, and you see it. You literally see it in the Bible itself. But hey,
again, for the record, the Micah chapter 5, it says again, "I will cut off witchcrafts out of thy hands." Then it goes on to say, "Thou shalt no more," meaning it won't happen anymore. This is what it says. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what "no more" means. It says, "And thou shalt no more worship the work of thy hands." So when this takes place, we wouldn't be committing idolatry. But he doesn't want to answer that because it cuts him. So now let me go to another one. I think I'm running a little low on time. So let's go to Psalm 110. I'm pretty sure we all knew we were going to go here. Psalm chapter 110, and it says, "The Lord said unto my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool." Who is the Adonai, not the Tetragrammaton? Who is the second Lord? The Lord said unto my Lord.
King David.
Okay, who is this a psalm of, sir?
This is a song written by one of David's servants about King David.
Can you prove that?
Yes, if we can go to, I'm going to show you another example of a situation like this happening, and we can go to Psalms real fast. Psalms. It says, so I'm going to go to Psalms 21. It says, a psalm of David, right? A psalm of David. "The king shall joy in thy strength, O Lord, and in thy salvation, how greatly shall he rejoice. Thus have given him his heart's desire, and thou hast withholden the request of his lips. Selah. For thou hast preserved him with blessings of goodness, and thou settest a crown of pure gold on his head." So we see this psalm says a psalm of David, and the lamed prefix in the Hebrew could mean 2 or 4. So this psalm, it was written for David. That is not written by David, the same as Psalms 110. So when we go back to Psalms 110, look what it says, and I'm going to show you someone else in the Bible letting us know this is actually about David and not David. It says a psalm of David, or the lamed prefix there, so it could be 2 or 4 David. A psalm to David. "The Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand, and I will make thine enemies a footstool." So I just want to go to 1 Kings 5 real fast, and let's see what this person says about this. 1 Kings 5. And I'm going to start at verse 2. And Solomon sent to Hiram, saying, Thou knowest how David my father could not build an house unto the name of the Lord his God for the woods which were round about him on every side, until the Lord put them under the soles of his feet. So we have Solomon, King David's son, letting us know that Psalms 110 is actually about David, the Most High, putting his enemies under his feet.
Okay, how much? I don't get to know how much time I have left.
No.
All right, that's fine. I don't know how much time I got left, so I'm gonna ask one more question. Numbers 24 and 17. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab and destroy all the children of Sheth. Now, Sheth is the second son of Adam. He comes back. We all go back to Seth. So I want you to explain to me who is the star that comes out of Jacob that destroys all the children of Sheth, and we all come from Sheth. So explain that, please.
Give me that book, chapter, and verse again. My bad.
Numbers 24 and 17. And please elaborate how this person will destroy all the children of Sheth.
Numbers 24 and 17. Let me grab this real fast. You said Numbers 24 and 17?
Yeah.
Let me read this real fast. I shall see him, but now I shall behold him, but nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy the children of Seth. And Edom shall be a possession of Seir, and also be a possession of his enemies, and Israel shall do violently. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and he shall destroy him that remained of the city. And when he looked on Amalek, he took him upon this parable and said to Amalek was the first side of the nations. If I had to, because I'm not really sure, if I had to assume, it sounds like this is a messianic prophecy.
Okay. Do you know who it is?
No.
Okay. For the record, he does not know who it is. And I think that's the reoccurring theme of this. Again, when we go to these messianic prophecies, like, let me ask one more. Jeremiah 23 and 5, when it says, let me read this last probably question. And again, for the record, he doesn't know who Numbers 24 is talking about. Jeremiah 23 and 5, Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch. Can you tell us who that is?
Yes, that's Zerubbabel. And I'm going to show you, if we go to, let's go, I think that's Zechariah. Let's pull this up real fast, because the Most High told us who his branch is. So we just go to Zechariah 6, and I'm going to start at 6 and 12. It says, And the Lord said unto him, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, Behold, the man whose name is the branch, he shall grow up in this place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord.
Time.
So we see the...
Time.
Oh.
That's time. Great debate. So that will be the end of the official debate. So
Yeah,
not
the
Corey, you got it.
formal area of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm
the end
gonna
of the
jump in there
formal.
right quick, Mahalab, if you don't mind. I think the brothers did an excellent job on both sides. Usually right here, points are still on the table, where we open up an informal space for brothers to actually build together, both unmuted, really no structured rules, just allowing each other to land, at the end of the sentence. No structured rules, just an open time frame. If both of you guys elect to continue to have a conversation, you can actually elect the time, whether that's 5 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. It'll be based on both of you guys. So before we invite anybody up to ask any questions, so what do you guys think, Hassad, Gdal?
I'm cool for a little bit. I don't know about the brother, but I'll be
How
cool for
much
a little
time
bit.
y'all think?
I stay around as long as Hassad stay around.
How much time you good for, Hassad?
We'll look at probably 15 minutes and see where we are.
All right, good
Con,
deal.
all right. That sound
Yeah,
good,
so let's.
everybody?
They good with it. So we'll go 15 minutes, just Hassad and Gdal. The only major rule is allow each other to land, and biblical integrity. Do not quote or make reference to any the Bible without citing book, chapter, verse. That way we can all get there and follow you guys. So we'll have that 15 minutes, and then after that, we may bring up a few people from the audience to pose questions to each side. Other than that, both of you brothers can unmute or one muted at a time. It really don't matter. We'll stay up, and we'll just jump in just to kind of help you guys untangle yourselves if we feel need be. But of course, you men, so we'll kind of allow you to do it at first. But then, if y'all need it, then we'll jump in. By you.
Okay, so I kind of want to finish Jeremiah 23, and I'm gonna keep reading down because the brother said it was Zerubbabel.
Oh yeah, let me answer that. I want to finish answering that. So
Yeah, I got you.
we
Let
doing
me just
another round?
read it real quick.
It's just an open bill, so just kind of. He said he wanted to continue. He was the first one to speak. Let him read, and then ask you a question, and then you can just take your time and answer it.
Oh, okay.
So when it says in verse 6, specifically in Jeremiah 23, in his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel, the northern kingdom, shall dwell safely. Zerubbabel is around the time of Babylon. Can you show me the northern kingdom as a whole? I'm not talking about certain individuals or a few people. Can you show me the northern kingdom as a whole around the time with Zerubbabel, around the time of Zerubbabel?
Yeah, we can go to Ezra. Let's go there. Ezra 6. And I'm going to start at verse 16. It says, "And the children of Israel, the priests and the Levites, and the rest of the children of the captivity kept the dedication of this house of the God with joy, and offered at the dedication of this house of God 100 bullocks, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and for a sin offering for all Israel, 12 he goats, according to the number of the tribes of Israel." Excuse me. Excuse me. And they set the priests in their divisions and the Levites in their courts for the service of God, which is at Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses. And the children of the captivity kept the Passover upon the 14th day of the first month. For the priests, the Levites, were purified together, and all of them were pure, and killed the Passover for all the children of the captivity, for their brethren, the priests, and for themselves. And the children of Israel, which were come again out of captivity. So, quick question to you, Hassad. When the Bible says the children of Israel, is it referring to just the northern kingdom, just the southern kingdom, or both together?
It depends on the context.
Okay, so let me just get it. So after the split, after the split of the kingdoms, we went to, when it says children of Israel, we know it was northern. I mean, when it says the house of Israel, we know it was the northern kingdom. House of Judah, we know it was the southern kingdom. After the split, when does it refer to all the children as the children of Israel?
You're saying after the split of Rehoboam, when is it referred to us as the children of Israel?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get that real quick. All right.
And show me when it's referring to the children of Israel that is not referring to both houses.
Okay, what was your second question?
Because you said it's the context. So from
Mm-hmm.
my understanding, when it says children of Israel, it's talking about both houses.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you're going to show me a verse where it's calling them the children of Israel and it's not referring to both houses.
Okay, got you. So let me show you this. Hosea chapter 1. This is it says okay, boom. Hosea chapter 1, verse 2. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, the children of Israel, you are not my people, there shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living God. Then look what it says in verse 11. Then the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head. So there's one right there. What was your second question?
My next question, all right, good one. My next question would be, well, let me go back to Ezra 6.
And after you're done with this, I want to address that Ezra 6 and go back to Jeremiah 23.
All right, so Ezra, what I was saying. All right, verse 22. And it says, "And to keep the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with joy, for the Lord have made them a joyful and turned the heart of the king of Assyria unto them." Who's the king of Assyria right there? And was the southern kingdom in the Assyrian captivity?
What verse again was that?
Verse 22.
And what book was
Ezra 6.
Ezra? Let me take a look. I believe it was Cyrus or Darius.
And why is he called the king of Assyria though? Because we know this they coming out of Babylon. Was the northern kingdom coming out of Babylon with them?
No, and let me prove that real quick. This is Ezra chapter 1. We're going to stay in the same book of Ezra, matter of fact. Ezra chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 5. It says, I'm going to start at verse 2, matter of fact. Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia. I'm going to start, matter of fact, verse 1. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord might, by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom. He said this to his entire kingdom and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you of all his people? Again, he proclaims this to his entire kingdom, and he says, Who amongst you guys, out of all of you, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord God of Israel. Now let's see who comes. Verse 5. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah, Benjamin, and the priests, this would be the sons of Aaron, and the Levites. So you have Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, with all them whose spirit God had raised to go build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. This is Ezra right after the Babylonian exile. We return home, and who's there? Who rises up? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Why? Because the northern kingdom is not there as a whole.
So they rose up to build the house. That's not saying that's all the people that came out of captivity. Those are the one that was chosen to build the house.
So why did those
But
tribes rise?
my question was because we see that the king of King Cyrus, he took over everything the Babylonians had, and the Babylonians took over everything the Assyrians had. And this is why, like you said, Cyrus was called the king of Syria, because once they take over this stuff, they would take the title king of Babylon, king of Assyria, king of the four corners. So this is why. So the northern kingdom, yes, was in Assyrian captivity. The Babylons took them over, took everything they had, even their captives.
So why
yes,
did
the Assyrian,
rise up?
so yes, the northern kingdom was in Babylonian captivity. Yes, the
You
Persians
just
took them
you
over.
addressed that in Ezra 1?
You just read about who was risen to build the house.
Yeah, so again, why didn't the northern kingdom come to build the house?
I don't know. You can't ask me that, but you're
Okay.
not
Again, for the
reading.
record,
You're not. You didn't read.
for the record, he
Hold
doesn't
on.
know. Let me
You
read.
didn't read about who was in the captivity. You read who was chosen to build the house,
Yeah,
and you went
who
there.
out of the people
I
that were
just
out of
hold
the
on, real fast.
captivity, and he made this proclamation
Hold
throughout
on.
all his kingdoms.
Are
Again,
you gonna let
the
me finish
northern.
speaking?
Well,
Are you
yeah,
trying
but
to? I know you're
no, hold
trying
on.
to save face because you got embarrassed. But let me
No,
just finish. Let me just finish
hold
speaking.
on, brother. I'm gonna let you go, but again, you asked me a
I'm
question.
going. You're not gonna let me go. I'm
Yeah, I
going
know.
right now.
I
So
just
just
asked you a
relax.
question. You answered
I'm
it
trying
halfway.
to answer.
Hold on,
Like,
yo.
Hassad, you gotta relax. Calm down. I know
Judah,
you're
Benjamin,
embarrassed, bro, but just
only
relax.
ones
Let
that
me
rise up.
finish. Let me just finish real fast. Just have some decorum.
And
Let me just finish.
explain why only
So,
Judah, Benjamin, Levi went
hold
up to
on.
that house. Go ahead.
So he just literally read that Levi, Benjamin, Judah were the tribes that was risen to build the temple, not that they were the only ones in captivity. So we just read in Ezra 6 that Cyrus was called the king of Assyria because they took over all the land. So yes, the northern kingdom that was in Assyria when Babylon took over, they put like that's like if Russia take over America right now, we're going to be under the Russian government. We're still going to be in this land of exile. That's the same thing that happened then. The Babylons came and took over, so all they did was transfer from under Assyrian captivity to Babylon captivity. But we see in Ezra 6 that they gave a sacrifice for all 12 tribes, one, and then Cyrus is called the king of Assyria because he had the possessions of the Assyrians. Right, so let me ask another question real
No,
fast.
I gotta
Go
ask
ahead.
because
Go ahead.
yeah. Okay, so again, he says he doesn't know the answer for why in Ezra chapter 1. And again, yes, I agree. Babylon took over Assyria, and again, though, Cyrus made a proclamation throughout his entire kingdom. That means the northern kingdom, if they were there, they would have surely heard this. Decided not to go and not build the temple with Judah. So he doesn't know an answer for that. Now let me read this real quick. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 15. And I will cast you out of my sight. as I have cast out all your brethren, even the whole seed of Ephraim. So, no, they weren't there. They were casted out of the Lord's sight. They weren't there with Judah when they went into Babylon, and they weren't with Judah after they came out of Babylon. Now, going back to Jeremiah 23, here's the main question I want to ask, because the brother said that it's Zerubbabel. And Jeremiah 23:6, in his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. Now, speaking about the chronology of Israel returning back out of exile from Babylon into Persia, how are they dwelling safely when the same time of Ezra, Nehemiah, Zerubbabel, Nehemiah says in Ezra chapter 9, verse 37, it says, verse 36. Behold, we are servants this day, and for the land that thou gavest unto our fathers, to eat the fruit thereof and the good thereof. Behold, we are slaves in it. How, according to Jeremiah chapter 23, again, Jeremiah 23 says that Israel and Judah are going to dwell safely and are going to be saved. But you're saying Zerubbabel fulfilled this, but during the time of Zerubbabel, the people of that time said that they're in slavery. Can you please explain that?
Again, I didn't say Zerubbabel is the branch. The Bible says Zerubbabel is the branch. So let me go this again because I didn't even get a chance to do it. And Zerubbabel, Zechariah 6, and I'm going to start at verse 12. And it says, and speak unto him, saying, thus speak the Lord of hosts, saying, behold, the man whose name is the branch, and he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord. Even he shall build the temple of the Lord, and he shall build the glory, and shall sit and rule upon the throne, and he shall, and the priest shall be before his throne, and counsel of peace shall be between them both. Right. So now, if we go right here to, I think that's Zechariah. Yep, Zechariah 3. Look what it says. It says, hear now, O Joshua the high priest, and thy followers that sit before me, for they are men wondered for. Behold, I will bring forth my servant the branch. For behold, the stone that I have laid before Joshua, upon one stone shall be 7 eyes, such and such. So we see that Joshua is told that the branch will be risen to him. And we also saw that the branch would build the temple. Right? So let's go to Zechariah 4. I'm going to start at verse 5. And then the angel that talked with me answered and said unto me, knowest that thou not what these be? And I said, no, my Lord. Then he answered and spoke unto me, saying, this is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, not by might, nor by power, but by spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. But by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Who art thou, O great mountain? O before Zerubbabel, thou shalt become a great plan. He shall bring forth the headstone thereof with crying spirits. With shouting, crying, and grace unto it. Moreover, the Lord came unto me, saying again, the hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this house, and his hands also shall finish it. And thou shalt know the Lord of hosts has sent me unto you. So we see the Most High lets us know that Zerubbabel is his branch, that he rose up to Joshua, that branch. Zerubbabel was that branch that built that temple. Zerubbabel was that branch that him and Joshua will have peace between them two upon the throne and upon in the
Brother, what the hell
the
are you
priests.
talking about? This has nothing to do with
Yo,
that.
are you gonna why you keep interrupting me, dude?
No, because you're not answering the question. I didn't
Oh my,
ask you about
yo,
building the temple.
I'm
I would ask you.
I'm showing you who the branch is. Just sit back and learn something and
No,
shut
again,
up.
the question is,
Jeez
how
Hold
did
gracious,
on, hold on,
bro.
hold
Israel
on,
and
hold on,
Judah
hold on,
dwell
hold on, hold on.
Yeah,
safely if they're
oh
in
my
Moderator,
slavery
God,
during the time
I'm
of
just
done,
mute,
bro.
Zerubbabel?
just mute, just mute real quick. Hold
Answer
up.
the question.
I got you. Just hold on. All right. This is a back and
Dude, it's
forth.
horrible. He's supposed to be the leader,
No,
but he
stop,
can't even control
stop.
himself.
Hold
Gdal,
on,
You
Salakia.
gotta.
you're showing you can't control
That's right.
yourself. Stop. Don't unmute.
But y'all not saying nothing to him.
Be quiet. I'm
Hold
saying
on, one
something to
second.
both of y'all. Be quiet,
Gadal, let
bro.
us speak. We not arguing with you,
Thank
bro.
you.
Just let us
Thank
speak.
you. All right. So, Gdal, you were long-winded, and this is a back and forth. So there can be times where he butts in. It's not that hard to understand this. All right. So I'm just trying to moderate the debate. I'm enjoying it. I
The
don't
debate
mind
Yeah,
it.
over.
you did. Hey, and I
Hold
will say
The
on,
this.
debate over,
bro.
man.
Yeah,
Hold on. I'm not done
yeah. Go
talking.
ahead. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, I
I
appreciate that.
just want to hold on. Let me say this right quick. Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. It's just the moderators is speaking right now. Just to give you clarity, there was a space for the formal debate that already took place. This is informal. So this area right here is a literal spar fest. That's all it is. You take space. You allow each other to land, but after that, when you guys get tangled up, we're gonna let you hash it out. We're actually learning from the experience. Other than that, we're gonna jump in just like we just did. That was the only time I felt like we should have jumped in. Other than that, it's a sparring test, and you're fighting for space. So you was actually breaking a couple of scriptures down, and then Hassad came back in and fought and took the mic. That's what this space is for. That this is a much more intense space than the hot seat. So versus the versus platform was actually doing exactly what it was supposed to do, was sit back and allow you guys to go at it for this time frame. Do you guys feel like y'all got any other points to
Yeah,
ask? I
I
know.
got it, Corey. I got to hammer this point in.
And let me just say this real quick before you do. Let me just say one thing. When you guys are making your points, you just need to make it one time. You don't need to continue to make the same point. All right, I think that's why the brother Hassad was trying to get in there because you made the point several times and we understood it. So just as you guys continue to go back and forth, you make your point and then you kind of can move on. Don't kind of say the same thing over and over because then the other person feels like, all right, we got it. I want to get in there. So I just wanted to say that as well.
If anyway, y'all, I'm done. I'll lay my point.
Okay, well then, real quick, because here's what I believe is going on.
Muting me, like y'all don't mute him, but y'all
Yo,
muting me.
yo, slow down, brother. I
That's
just muted
crazy.
myself. That's why. But real quick, what you're attempting to do, brother Gdal, when faced with a scripture that clearly contradicts your ideology, is go on long rants. And there's another word for it, man. You said grandstanding, Alzar, but it's another word that people do in the Senate when they filibuster. Just going a long filibuster in an attempt to try to just woo the audience because you read a bunch of stuff. No. Answer the direct question. You said Jeremiah 23 that is Zerubbabel. It says in verse 6, in his days, you would be saying Zerubbabel, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. Here's the direct question again for you, brother. Can you please explain how Zerubbabel saved Judah and we dwelled safely, both kingdoms, when according to Nehemiah 9 and 37, at this same exact time, we were in slavery? Please explain that.
I just showed you without a shadow of a doubt the Most High recognizing Zerubbabel as the branch.
I'm not arguing
Just
that.
showed you,
Argue that. And again, I'm not. Let's just say
bro.
Zerubbabel
Shut
is the
up
branch.
and let me
Yo, no,
finish,
because
bro.
listen, brother, you're not
All right, I'm
addressing
done.
the
I'm
question I'm
done. I'm
asking
done.
you.
I'm done.
Let's hypothetically say Zerubbabel is the branch. You
I'm
don't need
done.
to
I'm
argue
done.
with me that Zerubbabel is the
I'm
branch.
done, bro. I'm
Let's
done.
give you that. Please explain how
That's what
Zerubbabel
I'm about to
saved.
do if you just shut the fuck up and let me talk. The fuck are you?
This nigga's mad. Yeah, go ahead.
Now y'all
Explain
keep
it now.
muting me.
Go
Let
ahead, bro.
me
Go
talk and let me go. If you just shut up. Thank you.
Real quick, just nobody
Oh,
mute him. Just let him go ahead.
thank you.
I was
I'm
about to
in
say, go
traffic.
ahead,
I'm
Corey.
actually trying to throw the Bluetooth stereo on. That's actually my issue because I couldn't hear the last 4 minutes of the interaction. I only heard Halab's question be reiterated. So I apologize on that. I'm not sure what was said. I can only hear with the replays on. So what was said again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did. And that's my fault as well. I was gonna jump in there. It got a little bit now this informal part is a little bit more fiery, so we do kind of allow, you know, ad homs to a certain degree. But hey Corey, you got some background if you can mute up.
My bad. I'm sorry.
You good. So in this informal spot, that kind of is okay, as long as it's not within the realm of him cutting Hassad off. So I was going to jump in there to say, hey, make sure Hassad asks his question clean so he can demonstrate what he wants you to answer. I felt like he heard what you were saying and he heard your answer, but he wanted to clarify his question. So when you said just shut the fuck up so he can listen and see what's going on, I was going to jump in there to say, wait, hold on. I feel like Hassad should have been able to, clarify his question. But the actual shut the fuck up, no, I don't have a problem with that in the informal part of the round.
I
Shalakia,
will say real quick,
Shalakia,
Salak. Go ahead, Cat. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. Yeah, nobody should say shut the fuck up to nobody. The decorum between both parties, whether it's fiery or not, we do have to have a level of respect in the dialogue. I haven't heard Hassad, now I got here late, but I haven't heard Hassad say anything that warranted the dog saying that to him. It seems more like the dog got a little frustrated and resorted to that type of verbal attack. And that's not, it shouldn't be something that we should have to do. We should have a better way that we can speak to each other, and I believe that's why the dog was muted. So if you're gonna have this bill, and then I believe if the dog was long-winded and Hassad cut in what I heard, he did not tell the dog shut the fuck. He didn't even do anything derogatory from what I heard. So I don't think it's necessary, even in the fiery bill. I think that's why you got muted, the dog. So let's just have a better decorum in speaking to each other, so we can continue the debate.
Yeah,
So you
that's all
guys
I
are
was
at
gonna
13
say.
minutes.
All right,
That's
man.
all I was gonna say is that hold on, it's a right with brothers being fiery, but just chill with all the mumbo jumbo, bro. That's it. We grown men up here. But go ahead, continue.
Okay, so just for the record again, I'm gonna
This
ask
is
my question one more time.
yo.
So
Oh
quick.
my. Can I speak now? Because
No,
I was
Yeah,
I
almost
do
cut
want,
off.
I
I
yeah.
do
didn't
think that,
muted. Can
wait,
I speak?
hold on. I do think that, like I was saying before, that Hassad should be able to clarify exactly to what he's asking, and this is the last time
Oh my
that we're going to
goodness, bro.
ask the question, and Godal's going to have the space to, if he wants to answer the same way again, cool. But it's really for the audience to decide who answered the question. So Hassad should have the right to clarify the question because he doesn't feel like it was answered properly, and then we'll have Godal respond.
Okay. So again, for the record, in Jeremiah chapter 23, he believes the branch is Zerubbabel. For the record, I do not agree. That's all right though. He can have that for now. So again, Gadal, when you respond to this, don't go, oh, see, I'm proving that Zerubbabel's the branch. You can have that. That's fine. I just need you to explain to me how, according to Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 6, if this is Zerubbabel, it says, in his days, Zerubbabel, Judah shall be saved and Israel shall dwell safely. Now, how, according to you, did Zerubbabel have Judah and Israel be saved and dwell safely when around the same exact time of Zerubbabel, no, in the same exact time as Zerubbabel, according to Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 37, we were in slavery. That is now, audience. That is the direct question. And as he attempts to answer this question, I want you to ask yourselves: is he answering the question? That is the direct question I'm asking you to answer. Godal, go ahead, brother.
Thank you. And the reason why I keep talking about Zerubbabel because I have to paint the picture so I can get there. But if y'all don't let me get there and y'all keep interrupting me, it becomes a problem. And you have a bunch of people that I've heard plenty of times talk really rough to people. Now everybody got their tail tucked because I talk rough. But anyway, you see, the Most High chose Rubel to be the one to lead the people out of Babylon captivity back to the land to establish the temple so that people of Israel can be saved and brought out of Babylon into their own land and where their temple was built. And they dwelt safely in their land. That's what that is talking about, right? You're going to verses where you taking it way out of context. During the time of Zerubbabel, they was not in slavery. They weren't. This was after the Persians sent them back to the land. They weren't ruled by nobody. So you don't understand what you're talking about. So Zerubbabel was the one chosen to lead them back, him and Joshua the high priest, to establish the temple, and they dwelt there in that land safely up until the damn I think the Maccabee time period. So this is what's happening there. And the reason why I don't try to use my own opinion, because when you disagree with me, you have to disagree with the Bible. Because the Bible, Zechariah tells us who's that branch, who was the one that sat upon the throne, who was the one that was called that prince, the same one that in the book of Ezekiel, that the king in the third temple is called the prince. Zerubbabel was called that. This is about him. He is identified as that. He brought them, he led them out of Babylon to dwell safely in their land. And just because you dwell safely in the land doesn't mean nothing can happen to you. In the book of
Land your plane.
Ezekiel, when we go back to the land in the future, We're gonna be dwelling safely, but guess what? Gog and Magog is coming to the land to cause havoc on us. So just because you don't understand the Bible, don't mean nothing.
Land your plane. And so
Okay.
that
So
has been 15, unless you guys want to keep going.
yeah, well, let me just say,
Nah, I'm done, man. Cause y'all are ridiculous up here,
yeah,
bro. The brother is embarrassed, and y'all trying to save face for him.
it's all right, man. Go drink some wine, bro. Go cry about it.
Hey, one thing I will say is real quick. I think the moderation has been fair. So please don't put any shade on moderation, bro. That's all I'm gonna say.
Get away with stuff in this debate that y'all never let anybody get away. And the brother was coming off mic, he was interrupting, like he was doing a bunch of that. And usually on other debates, I saw y'all stop that. Yo, you can't do that. No, that's breaking the rules. Y'all
This
let this
brother
brother do
just
whatever.
this
So I'm
brother
just
just
being real, and
propagated. This
he
brother
still
just
got
propagated white
embarrassed. He
supremacy.
still didn't know what he was
Are,
talking about.
are
He
we gonna
couldn't
let
answer
brother
no
All right,
questions,
so
propagate
this
white
is
and
what we
that's
can
supremacy?
it,
do
man.
now. We can end it.
So
We're not
you,
going to
you,
complain about
Yeah, we
moderation
could end
right
it.
now.
We're
We'll
Yeah,
getting
end that part
childish.
of the
protesting.
round. Do people? Yeah, we'll okay. If he wants to
Yeah,
answer it,
it's
you can
gonna
what
take
was your
10
last
seconds,
question?
if that. It won't even take 10 seconds. This brother he's a good house slave for the white man. He just said you can be in slavery and still be safe. That sounds like some shit that pastor would go tell the house nigga to go tell the rest of the slaves. But go ahead.
And then he just
hey, we
lied
got to
and
give them
everything I
the
said.
2 minute.
Lied.
We're gonna give them the 2 minute conclusion. Gadal, you actually have the floor first. Conclude. All you have to do is just reintroduce yourself, tell the people your school of thought and what you felt you taught today. And if you have to use a Bible verse or so, that's fine. Just do it within a 2 minute time frame. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so in the debate, I showed in Isaiah 7, the brother didn't know what he was talking about. Isaiah 7 talked about the 65-year period. How the heck, if Isaiah says a 65-year period, how the heck can Jesus fulfill it 1,000 something years later? I proved in Deuteronomy 18 that that prophet was risen to lead the children of Israel into the land of Canaan. Jesus did not do that. I asked him that question. He couldn't answer it. He went to talking about, oh, he's going to do it in the future. So that means he didn't do it. And even Jeremiah 23, where it says the person is going to deliver the people and bring them so they could dwell in the land safely. Jesus didn't do that either. And y'all keep, oh, he's going to do it. Well, he didn't fulfill it. So it's not about him. So stop it. So I showed over and over and over. The brother couldn't substantiate nothing he claimed. He didn't know what he was talking about in the book of Zechariah. He did a horrible job. I thought it was going to be a better debate. All he did is agree with me that this stuff was fulfilled. And all he tried to do is say, well, Jesus is going to do it again. Well, he didn't do it. So you didn't prove nothing at all. And this debate was just easy, man. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, so all praise to the Heavenly Father in the name of His only begotten Son. Yeah, it's just cold, man, because I literally anticipated everything that this brother attempted to say that came out of his mouth, and it was so bad to a point where I was literally throwing him alley oops, knowing exactly what he was going to say. I prove again, according to the topic, is Jesus prophesied in the Old Testament? Went throughout the Old Testament and substantiated that yes, in fact, Christ is prophesied throughout there, and again, when he attempted to refute the information that I went to, he wasn't able to. And then I went back. I spun the block and hit him up again. And there's nothing he could do about it. That's why you could see the frustration oozing out of him in Jeremiah chapter 23. He realized how bad he had it. So he had to go on a long filibuster in an attempt to try to get out of the clear hole that he was in. But it's all good, man. It's, again, according to Psalm 118:22, it's a stumbling block of offense. That's why the brother's so upset. He's not mad at me. He's mad at God. So all praise to the Heavenly Father. And that's it. Shalom.
All right, all right, all right. Good debate. It got a little bit fiery. Got a little bit, jammed up at points. But I believe for the formal part of the debate, it was clean, clear. The audience was able to take down points and take down accurate information from both sides. Like I said, during that last, informal part or informal part, it did get a little shaky. But, I believe that overall, it definitely was a great debate by both participants. I appreciate both for, putting in the time that it took, and the precepts together. I appreciate the audience for coming out and supporting. Make sure you click that little greenhouse above my head, become a member. Make sure you follow those good brothers. Make sure you follow the moderators on stage as well. I yield with that.
Con, all praises. I want to get the brothers Yoshiyahu as well as Alizar who came to the stage to help in terms of moderating the clock. Kudos to those brothers. Make sure you guys are following those brothers. They came to assist their respective debaters, on each side. So I want to say, make sure y'all following those brothers,
Hey, quick
following
question. Sorry,
Captain
are y'all gonna open the
Tazariak as
floor up
well
for
as.
questioning? Sorry, not to, because I know we usually open the floor up for questioning at the debates.
Is something wrong with my something wrong with
Not
my
at
No,
all.
you good. He just
okay,
interrupted you.
Gdal.
Like y'all closing it off, so I was trying to get that understanding. No disrespect.
All right, so I'll continue. Make sure y'all following the brother Captain Tazariak and following the brother Yawasab. They did an excellent job in terms of helping with the clock, hitting the bad chat, making sure we were sharp on point where I was limited at today. So I appreciate those brothers as well as the debaters, the teachers that came out. Anybody that come to the Versus platform that's actually bringing out edification to the people. You guys, are the highest esteemed on this platform. So make sure y'all are giving Hassad and the brother Gdal a follow. Information was brought out on both sides. Hopefully everybody took notes. I've always employed the audience to take notes on both sides to make sure you are applying it. I want to make sure I say something super clear moving forward. The thing about the Versus platform was it was actually created to be a formal debate place where everybody can come and edify the people. One point we try to make sure we stay on is like to be non-biased, straight down the middle. But I want to make sure that people understand when they come to this platform that we are men as well and we are not soft. So I just want to make sure that it's crystal clear. We're non-biased, but we're not soft. So if you take shots at moderation, we will address you in the position. At the very beginning, when you see the replays, I believe the brother Hassad was addressed multiple times when the brother Halab kept jumping in there in reference to Hassad speaking when a question wasn't land. You will actually see that consistently during the debate. And for the most part, Gdal wasn't addressed. Towards the end is where the informal hiccups came in the informal area, which I gave clarity that there are no rules in this section. That's really it. Really no rules in this section. Both of you brothers unmute, or one of y'all can be muted up. Don't really matter. It's a sparring match. Fight for space. That's the point. So the debate was actually on point. It got emotional at certain times, but not necessarily towards moderation. So I want to give a kudos to both sides of moderation. Brothers who support Gdal's position, brothers who support Hassad's position. I want to just say awesome job to the Versus platform in terms of the audience. Make sure you click that little greenhouse, become a member, nominate others, and we will have an official space to actually kind of communicate about this, allow some of the audience members to come up after this room on the God First Gang platform. But right now, how many questions, Gdal and Brother Hassad, how many questions are you guys willing to take from the audience on this platform? From each side. Usually a brother take a couple. What do y'all think?
I'll take about 2 or 3 if that.
All right, good deal. So, Gdal, how many questions you would like to take on your side? Do you want to just take the same amount?
Yeah, I'll take in 3, 4, 5.
All right, cool. So 3 is the number. Captain Tazariak, would you like to kind of host this space?
Yeah, I could do it. We want to bring them up and run it down. I could do that.
Yeah. If you can bring them up, y'all would
Mm-hmm.
stop. You can drop them down. If you can just bring all 6 up, 3
No
from
sweat.
each side or whatever the case may be,
Okay, no
we'll
sweat.
be good.
All right, so what I'm gonna do, y'all know the rules when y'all come up here. It's not the time for your MLK speech. You're gonna come up here, ask your question. Be concise. We don't need to build up for the question. If it's a verse, you can read the verses. Then you're gonna ask your question. We're gonna bring up 6 people, 3 for Hassad, 3 for the dog. All right, so I'm gonna pick them at random and who I think is for the question. And when I bring y'all up, don't unmute. I'm just gonna run through y'all to see who has a question for who. All right. see.
And I want to say this, and simply ask the question. We don't care who you feel, who won. Don't want to hear none of that. Just simply ask the question. That's it. No ad homs. Simply ask the question and make sure it's geared towards the scholarship of the Bible. That's it.
How many
And they
people we
said
got up
three.
here?
We'll do 3 and 3 because that's what
Yeah,
Hassad asked.
con.
So that's what we'll do.
Yeah, 3 and 3. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. Let me get one more person. Hold on 1 second. Um, all right. I think we got everybody up here. Okay, so I'm just going to run a brief yes or no. Rodney, who's your question for?
Hot blood or Hassad?
Ariella?
Gdal.
Is?
Gdal.
Not?
Gdal.
So those are the 3 for the dog. Dre?
Gdal.
And, well, Dre, you're going to get dropped down. Adaya?
I was gonna do Gdal, but I guess I can do Hassad.
All right, Dre, I'm going to have to move you down because we reached the max for, that. So we need one more.
Hold on 1 second. Let me say this too, Cap. When you
Come.
coming up, when you bringing questions to the stage, when he's asked who is your question for, he really means who are you against on the stage, because some questions is framed as an alley oop. We don't do alley oop questions. For an example, we won't bring Alazar to the stage to ask a question to Hassad. No, Alazar must ask a question to the opposite side so we can keep it fair and balanced. So I just want to make sure I say it.
All right, no sweat. So the hand raising is back up. Let me see. Bring brother up. I don't see nobody else. I just brought one other person up. I don't see nobody else with their hand raised. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. If anybody else has a question for Hassad, you can raise your hand. We're just looking for one more. If not, he'll just deal with the 2. Let's see. There are people that I'm giving a hand raise. There we go. To whoever point, who's your question for?
Hasad.
Hello. Can
Hey,
I?
Cap. Hey, Cap, you muted.
That me too, huh? That's a joke, right? So I'm gonna ask the questions in the order that the people are up here. You want to just get straight to your question? So we're gonna start with Rodney first.
All right, peace, brother Hassad. Great debate. You mentioned in the debate that in Zechariah 12 and 10, I'm gonna read it. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication. They shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourn for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one born that is embitter him for his firstborn. You mentioned that that Christ is going to die from according to the prophecy by pierce. In John chapter 19, verse 33, it says, "But when they came to Jesus and saw that he was dead already, they brake not his legs, but one of the soldiers with the spear pierced his side, and forthwith came there out blood and water." So can you help clear it up when you mentioned that that according to Zechariah 12, he's going to die from a pierce, but in John he was already dead. They pierced him to check if he was dead because they were supposed to keep him alive. The water, brother.
Yeah, got you. Fair question. I was saying that also in conjunction with Psalm 22 when it says they pierced my hands and my feet. So it was not only Zechariah 12, but in conjunction also with Psalm 22. My bad if I failed to bring that out. So let me just read this real quick. Psalm 22 and let me get this real quick. Okay, so Psalm 22 and 16. For dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. Yes, so I said that in conjunction also with Psalm 22 in reference to the crucifixion. So thank you for asking that so I can clear that up.
All right. Next we got Ariella. You can go ahead and ask the question.
Shalom, family. Good debate, brothers. Brother Gdal, you in your attempt to answer Hassad's question in regards to Zechariah 12:10 through 11. You mentioned that this is about Josiah, all right, and you said that he died in Megiddo. He was killed in Megiddo, and then you went to Second Chronicles 35 and 24 as your proof. I'm going to read it. I want to ask you a question. It says, "His servants therefore took him out of the chariot and put him in the second chariot that he had, and they brought him to Jerusalem. And he died and was buried in one of the sepulchres of his father, and all of Judah and Jerusalem mourned for Josiah." Did Josiah die in Megiddo, or did he die in Jerusalem?
Again, in Zechariah 12, I did not say Zechariah 12 was about Josiah. Let me just do this again. In Zechariah 12 and 11 says, "In that day there should be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadab Barim in the valley of Megiddon." Right? So they are comparing how the mourning, how great that mourning is going to be in Jerusalem when this person in Zechariah 10 dies. They're comparing that to the mourning of King Josiah in the valley of Megiddon, when all Judah and Israel mourned for his death. So again, I did not say this is about Josiah. They're just comparing the two mourners. How the people mourned for King Josiah when he died is how the mourning is going to be for that person that dies during that war in Zechariah 12. So again, I never said it was about King Josiah.
All right. Next on the queue, we got is. You up next with your question, man.
All right. Great debate aside. Real quick question for you, Gdal. I know according to Israel's culture, we always had to ensure that we had a proper lineages or proper lineage for our kings. And I know that you are messianic, and I was just wondering where could I find the lineage for the future king that you are expecting?
You can find his lineage in Isaiah 11, where he comes from the line, the seed of David. But the Messiah hasn't came yet. He probably wasn't even born yet. Well, I could say for certain he wasn't born yet. So, of course, we're not going to have his lineage up until him because he's not here yet. So, yeah.
All right. Next, we got Adaya with your question. You can go
Yeah,
ahead.
Adia, how you doing? Hassad, this question is for you. This is Psalms 22, verse 17. It says, "For dogs have surrounded me. A band of evildoers has encompassed me like a lion in my hands and feet." Now, I know in the King James it says pierce, but the Hebrew text is actually the lion at his hands and feet. I just want you to explain, how is this a dual prophecy, since you say it is dual and it has nothing to do with pierced? Thank you. That's my question.
Okay, you said, what was this? You said it doesn't say pierced in the what? In the
In
Hebrews?
the Hebrew text, yes. You can look at
I'm
it.
looking at it right here. It's
Psalms
Ra.
22:17.
Uh-huh. And I'm looking at it right here. It's kara. It means to dig through, to open, to cut. I'm looking at it right here, sister. It says pierce. It's another word for pierce. Is to dig.
All
Like
right.
here's
So
let me
no,
stop.
I'm sorry. No, no, go ahead. Go
So,
ahead.
like for example, like the example that the word it uses is in Genesis 50:5. My father made me swear, saying, "Lo, I die in my grave, which I digged." What do you use to dig? Use a shovel. So the same way you use a shovel to dig into the earth, someone used an instrument to dig into Christ's flesh. So that's my answer.
All right. Last question, point with your question. You can go ahead.
Thank you, fellas. Hassad, I got a question for you. Jeremiah 32, 36, and 37. Uh, would you consider that as Rubel dwelling in safety?
Okay, so you said Jeremiah 32, 36, and 37. Would I consider that Zerubbabel dwelling in safety?
Yes, sir.
So you said Jerusalem or Zerubbabel?
Z- Zerubbabel. Can't pronounce his name.
I would have to take a look at the context, but I don't. Yeah, let me see. Jeremiah 32 and 37. Behold, I will gather them out of all countries, whither I have driven them in my anger, and in my fury, and in my wrath, and will bring them again unto this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God. Then it goes on to say, I'll make an everlasting covenant with them. That has nothing to do with Zerubbabel. That hasn't happened yet. What everlasting covenant was established during the time of Zerubbabel?
All right. I believe Hasad answered that question. Um, Corey, y'all could take it from here. That completes all 6 questions.
Can I
All
address that
praises.
question that the sister
No.
No, no, the question was not addressed to you.
So yeah, I appreciate the audience members coming up with much better job at the questions. To be honest, y'all got straight to it. Anybody who had a verse, they pulled the script, beat you up, cap this time. So y'all pulled the script, got straight to it. This was actually a really good job in terms of the audience. From the last 2 debates, we had no issues. So excellent job on the audience coming up. Getting straight to the questions and asking the brothers. I think the brothers did a pretty decent job as well at answering. So at this point in time, I want everybody to take the opportunity to follow the little green. Yoshiyahu, you had something? You unmuted.
No, I didn't know
You
that
sure?
I unmuted. I didn't know that I
Oh,
unmuted. No, no, no.
that's the bro, man. Make sure y'all follow the brother Yoshiyahu. Right now, we got a good gang of people in the building. So if y'all can click that little green house, become a member, and nominate others to the Versus platform. We build these spaces so people can actually teach and instruct the Bible correctly from their position, and we can go back and analyze it to see whether those things are so. So make sure you click in the little greenhouse, become a member, and nominate others. Follow the moderators on stage, doing an excellent job putting these debates together. Yawasab, Yak, Allah, myself. Follow the brothers Yoshiyahu and Chief Priest Alazar, which is a gorilla on the stage. Make sure y'all following that brother. Um, they do a lot of work in the community, so make sure y'all following them. And of course, last but not least, the two stars of the day, the brother Gdal and the brother Hassad, actually presented information. Make sure y'all following both of those brothers. You know what I'm saying? I feel like those brothers did an excellent job for the 88-minute debate. It got informal after that, and then we went into the round for the audience members. So make sure y'all give both of those brothers a follow. Those brothers are always welcome on the platform. Up at the top, you see in the link, we have the post debate space. This is the official post debate room on the God First Gang. Make sure y'all come to that space. It says All Out Slugfest on the Versus Who Won. Come there and give clarity there. On the Versus platform, we don't get clarity of who won. We don't do that as moderators. So, of course, the moderators always hold their opinion all the way through. But other than that, you guys have the space to come to that room as instructors, as audience members, so on and so forth, on whatever side to take the stage and either give who won or debate your cause on why they won. You can pull the scripts and actually present information. This informal side of the debate can continue on the God First Game platform. So click the little green house at the top on the verses, become a member and nominate others. But more importantly, right now, click that link. If you want smoke on either side, hey, click that link. Come to the stage. Some people just like to give their opinions. You can limit them to the comment board that we have now on Clubhouse. You can also send them to the back chats of the teachers that taught today, Gdal side, as well as you can send them to the moderators, or you can just bring your sentiments to the stage. But usually, if you just saying, good job, everybody, good job, we kind of limit that to if the teaching wants to continue, whether from the instructors today or some of the instructors that may take that stage in the audience. So right now, we should be emptying out this room with that link. That's what should be happening right now. Empty the room out. Everybody click the link. Go straight over. Keep clicking, keep clicking. The numbers is going down. Click that link, go straight over to the new room. Get you like one of the front row seats. That's pretty much how the theaters go. Get those front row seats. Click the link, and slide over. Keep going. We got the numbers from 600 to 450 in the last 3 minutes. Now we went from 450 to 320. Click the link, click the link, click the link. Go over. We still got the brother Mahalab and Yoshiyahu on the stage. They did an excellent job tonight. Follow those brothers, man. You know, Follow those brothers and then click the link. Do that. Follow both of them brothers and then click the link. You know, I like Yoshi a little bit more than I like Allah, but it don't matter. I like both of those brothers. Click the link and slide over. Mahalab, y'all what's going? One of
I
y'all
feel.
brothers need
I
to
just
be
wanted
over
to say.
there.
What's
I,
good,
I
man?
feel the same
Shalom,
way.
brother.
I feel the
Shalom.
same
Thank
way
you.
about
Excellent
Yoshiyahu and
platform.
Pakura.
I came to see why you still talking.
No, I'm emptying out the room. Y'all go over there.
Why you
This dude
screaming
is
at me?
nosy.
Why you?
This dude, this dude is nosy, man. I went to come and see why you still talking. For what?
Yeah,
Get
man. To
over
tell you to
there,
shut
man.
up and let's go, man. Everybody come in the room, man. Stop listening to Cordy, man.
No, I'm trying to empty this room out. I gotta stay
Yep.
here,
Everybody
man.
click on that link. Click on that link. Everybody stop listening to Cordy. Click on that link. Click on that link.
Right. I think they like listening to me. That's why they staying to the end. We went from 600 to 450 in 2 minutes, and then we went to 450 to 300 in another 2 minutes. Now we down to
Yeah, that's why.
196
That's
again.
why. That's why LaRon's still down there. He love your voice. Salaki, I'm out.
Man, get out of here. Ron is my guy sometimes, man. Most of the time, he's not. Most of the time, LeBron is not. I'm not even going to say his name again because I don't want nobody to follow him. I know he probably going to get about another follower or two just after that, but I don't want nobody to follow that guy, man. He my guy sometimes, though. We got 180 in the building. Empty out, empty out, empty out. Let's go over there. You got a point, bring it to the stage. Bring it to the stage. You want further edification on this topic or the next, go into that room. You know, a lot of the instructors they teach 24 hours out of the day. Really, they wake up and a lot of their focus is about waking our people up and bringing them to the scriptures and applying it to their lives properly. So yeah, empty this room out. We at 170. That's still way too many people. Let's at least get it down to 150 before I close it out. Let's get it down. 20 more people get out of here. Click the link at the top and then I'll close it. 20 more people get out of here and then we'll close it down. Appreciate y'all coming into the room as well. I don't know why RT still in the room. Who else I got in here? The brother Rob. The brother Rob don't camped out with me. We got the block in here. I ain't seen my guy in a minute. Via what's happening. Come on, get out of here, man. Click that link. Click that link. We got about 9 more people. Then I'll close this room out. Click that link. Slide over to the official post debate space. Further informal smoke or edification. Or just maybe reviews. You never know what we'll get in that room. 2 more people, then we closing out. 2 more. 2 more people, then we closing out. I appreciate everybody who came into the room. If you last minute followers, hit the Versus platform, hit the God First Game platform, follow the people. Good night. We just shot out 35 people quick in an instant. I said 2 more people. It's 40. Good night. Good job. I want to say shalom. Thank everybody coming into this room and just playing a role. Hopefully everybody was edified. We always say make sure you take notes on both sides so you can further be instructed on, at least the teaching points of both of the brothers. Other than that, shalom. Everybody have a good night.
She seen big G's in my bio. Her eyes got bucked like Ohio. Embarrassing. Don't wait till you're perishing. Nuclear missiles cook like kerosene. Life is a gamble, so please cast your lot. I need space to repent, but I'm no astronaut. Bible, my pistol, Hassad past the Glock. I'll spin your past this block, you'll feel the aftershock. She seen big G's in my bio. Her eyes got bucked like Ohio. Embarrassing. Don't wait till you're perishing. Nuclear missiles cook like kerosene. Life is a gamble, so please cast your lot. I need space to repent, but I'm no astronaut. Bible, my pistol, Hassad past the Glock. I'll spin your past this block, you'll feel the aftershock.